It's my new angle. I'm just mute the whole time. And I'm going to talk. How's that? I'm not a boomer. Leave me alone. Normal American show host robnoerr. Boomer show. Goodness gracious. Is it bedtime? It's got to be bedtime. Surely it's bedtime. Well, here we are, Sunday night. I don't always have to stream Sunday night. It's voluntary. Though, in fairness, all the streams are voluntary, right? Rock, flag, and eagle. You got it. Do I think China will have more balls to flex its muscles with Taiwan now? We'll see. We'll talk about Venezuela tonight. And there's an awful lot of stuff to talk about with the show. Spiro, what's up? Trump takes Greenland. I worship at the altar of AI. Then he also takes Canada. We'll talk about this. I'm not a big fan of the Monroe Doctrine. And we'll talk about that tonight. What's going on with my... Oh, there we go. So we'll talk a little about Monroe Doctrine. Yes, that's right. The Dawn Road. I'm more of a fan of switching up a little. Let's do a Roman Doctrine. How about that? So we'll talk about all that good stuff. But first, how was your day? How was the weekend? It's coming to an end. Weird day for me. This is the first time ever in my entire life, 41 years, that I have a child who's going back to school after Christmas break. And he don't want to go. Now, my son has loved his school. He goes to a little Catholic preschool. He's loved it. But I don't know, man. He's like, I don't want to go. He's a bear tonight because we're like, okay, back into a routine. No staying up until 11. You gotta go to bed like 9 o'clock. So he's not in a good mood. He really wasn't. But we tried to give him a great last day. So he picked a movie. We went and watched the SpongeBob movie. And it was, I gotta say, I personally felt it was slightly better than some of the more recent SpongeBob movies. Though it pales in comparison to the first SpongeBob movie, which is a hilarious movie, even if you're an adult. I enjoyed the first SpongeBob movie. And I did like seasons like 2 through 5 of SpongeBob. They went downhill after that, in my opinion. But the theme of the SpongeBob movie, spoiler alerts, you ready? But this is the theme, is that he's a big boy now because he grew like half an inch. And so now he's big. And they're doing a gag at the beginning of the movie where now that he's a little bigger, he's a big boy, right? And so he like pours his cereal that he'd normally pour and then pours a little extra because he's a big boy. And the one joke that I thought was very funny was it shows him he's like in the shower and he grabs his like shampoo off the shower shelf and then he goes to put it back, but instead he puts it one of the little shelves higher and he's so pleased. I laughed at that. Good stuff. Well, this is good. 3 super chats I never acknowledged. Perish the thought. I'll acknowledge. So yeah, it's all right, man. The SpongeBob movie is all right. What was that? Weird. Computer yelling at me here. Anyways, so yeah, we had fun today, but back to school. A lot of today's show is going to talk about my show. So if you're not into the meta, you might not be a big fan of tonight's show, but that's how it's going to be. So, super chats here real quick. GG. Thanks for the gifted sub. Appreciate it. Robert Whaley becomes a member again. Thank you so much, Robert Whaley. And Cherry Blue, $10. Thank you. Says, Rob, of Venezuela, if I give a perspective from a 15-year-old that saw it all unfold and learned what gratitude meant, let me know if we could have a one-on-one. Yeah, maybe later in the week. I don't know tonight, but hey, if you are in Venezuela, please stay safe. And look, it does not matter what my thoughts are on a conflict, whether it be Israel, Palestine, whether it be Ukraine, Russia, Iraq intervention, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, or any conflict that the United States isn't at least publicly involved with. All of these conflicts have winners, losers, etc. And I may have a America First focus on what I think about our policies, particularly our foreign policies. Okay, where did you send me super chats that I didn't acknowledge? Go ahead and ask your credit card to refund. I guess we'll start with this. Point to me where you sent super chats that I didn't acknowledge. I pride myself in every live stream of trying to hit absolutely every single super chat. The fact that you were claiming that you sent not one, not two, but three that I missed, I thought you were joking around, but now you're apparently being serious. So you tell me when this occurred. Go ahead, tell me. I think you're full of shit. I think that I normally have an audience that's like, hey, don't forget you have super chats, and my mods do a hell of a job. So I'll give you a chance to answer. Tell me the date that you put super chats up. Now, there are times where someone will say, hey, you forgot to read one, but I don't recall ever missing any of them. My audience will tell me. Friday, if you recall. Tell me what the show was about Friday night. You even called out one of my mods for it. All right, well, I'll tell you what I could do. You go ahead and contact your credit card. Go fuck yourself, you piece of shit. There you have it. All right. We took care of that. I guess I will say this, just in general. By no means does sending a super chat mean that 100% likelihood that I'll read it. Probably about a 99.9% chance I'll read it. But if I ever do accidentally miss one, I assure you it's not intentional. I try above and beyond what most channels do to make sure that I read the super chats, even if people are putting super chats that are like critical of me, even if it's just $1 or 99 cents. I tried to read them all. There are times that, like I said, maybe there'll be a bunch of super chats and then I'll be in the middle of a debate and I won't see that I missed one or two that were in between. But almost every one of those times, someone will remind me. The fact that you're claiming that you sent three, I don't know what to say, man. Fucking talk to your credit card company to refund them then. I don't know what to say. If you're not a troll, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to respect you coming in like a fucking big man. But I'm sorry if I missed one or two. Weird that you would have been the only person that I missed, though. Anyways, I'm not going to spend time on that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 3 from one person, that sounds ridiculous. So, whatever. I'm sure that person will be back with a different account here. So, anyways. So, we're going to have a meta show tonight. But I will say real quick to that caller or that super chatter, please stay safe in Venezuela. And I will talk about that a little today. Naughty Germ, $5. Thank you so much. So, first half of the show, we're going to talk about Venezuela. Well, not even first half. First segment of the show, we're going to talk about Venezuela and some things like that. Then we're going to talk a little about the channel after that. So, suffice it to say, I'm going to have he's acting like a big guy. Who's he think he is, SpongeBob? I'm going to have a busy next 2 weeks. We'll see how that affects sort of the streaming?
You're giving me the axe, aren't you?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
So let's see where to begin. Okay, let's start here with this idea of Venezuelans themselves, right? Now, in case you missed the show yesterday, I'm not a fan of this intervention. I'm not a fan of regime change, and I'm not a fan of now Trump's claim that basically, well, we have to stay here and we're going to be in charge of the country for a while until there's a stable regime. So my gut feeling hasn't changed on that. That's how I feel about both of those. Did a big long show Saturday. Yeah, it's yesterday about that, but let's start there. So I want to continue off on that. One of the things that a lot of people have told me is, but look at the Venezuelans cheering. Look at the Venezuelans cheering. I don't care. I care in the sense that I legitimately want all people around the world to be happy to the best of the ability. I'm not a utopian. I know that's not possible, but I would like for everyone to have a country that represents themselves. I am under no misapprehensions that Maduro wasn't a piece of shit, of course. And it looks above and beyond all credible evidence that he stole the last election. I would be open to hearing someone present evidence that that's not the case, but it seems to be the case. So would I be shocked if huge portions of Venezuela's country, the Venezuelan people, are happy that Maduro is gone? No, I'm not. I wouldn't be shocked at all. Would not be. I just don't care from the perspective of what my government should be doing. I care about that in the same sense that I care that I don't want people to die of AIDS in Africa, but my government should not be sending my tax dollars to NGOs to fund it. I just don't care. Maybe saying not caring's the right way to put, not the right way to put it. So let me be more specific. There are individual things that I care about both in the United States and outside the United States. There are people, there are issues, there are natural disasters, there are people living in poverty, there are people living with disease, there are people in war-torn areas. And yet, my concern for that stuff is my business, my private concerns. And by private, I just mean me and individuals' concerns. And you, my fellow Americans, should not be obligated to share that concern with me. And I should not, through my whims, have the government through force be able to take your tax dollars and send them to the foreign issues that I'm concerned with. And the great people that volunteer to serve in our military should not be obligated to go over and help other people for their well-being. If there is going to be military action, it should be for the benefit of the people of this country first and foremost. So to that extent, if the argument's going to be, here's why this regime change is good for the people of the United States, those are issues that I find relevant. If your argument is, here is why the people of Venezuela wanted it, I just don't care. You don't think the people of Nigeria would want regime change? You don't think the people of Zimbabwe would want regime change? You don't think the people of insert hundreds of countries? And that's the other thing. I'm sorry, but it's propaganda 101. Again, it is my suspicion that the majority of Venezuelans are probably very happy with this. But already you see a lot of bullshit, including from some people that I've respected and said kind things about recently. For example, Nick Shirley put out a video, Venezuelans cheering on the street, except it wasn't in Venezuela. And I don't even think it was from recent times. It was like a video from 18 months ago. Now, first off, we all make mistakes like that. I've done it. I've reposted shit that I'm like, oh, this is from this current conflict. In fact, I remember reposting something from Ukraine, Russia. And it was like, yeah, but this video is from like 2012. This has nothing to do with the current conflict. Oh, it happens. Doesn't make you a terrible person. But you should try to correct it. If you put up a video that says, look, Venezuelans are cheering in the streets because Maduro's been deposed, and it's a video from 18 months ago, you should at least put a post out saying, hey, actually, I'm sorry, this was wrong. Even if you don't want to do that, which you should just delete the post. Because we shouldn't be in the business of intentionally spreading things that are wrong. Now, if you're not sure, if you're like, no, I still think this is from now, okay, that's fine. But if you're convinced, like, oh, okay, this is not from the current situation, you shouldn't put that shit up. But the other thing is, like, this is propaganda 101. It's propaganda 101. Same bullshit happened in Ukraine. Look, all the people were cheering. Yes, I'm aware. The most well-funded intelligence agencies in the world, in the United States, are capable of putting out videos showing, look, people are happy with the actions we took. Look at them, they're on the streets. First and foremost, because no matter what action the intel agencies take in any country around the world, people will celebrate. Cubans would celebrate. The French would celebrate. There would be French people celebrating if we deposed France's leader. Any country. So I'm just not persuaded by, look, they're cheering in the streets. I don't care. I just don't. If a journalist gets to Venezuela and sees some people sad about it, it was like, boo, this sucks. Now, as a country, we're like, oh, never mind, it was a bad intervention? Is that the criteria? Rob, Venezuela's a cartel state until Trump stepped in. It's 100% our business when Maduro held Americans hostage. Show me the hostages that Maduro held. I'll be able to show you hostages that are held in. If that's going to be the argument, anytime an American is jailed in another country, we depose their leader. Fine. Let's start with Europe. Let's start in the United Kingdom. Let's start in Spain. Let's start in France. Let's start in Ukraine that killed Gonzalo Lira. Let's invade and take out all their leaders. Let's have Zelensky in handcuffs by the end of the day being tried for the death of Gonzalo Lira. Nope, I'm sorry. Once more this bad man there. Bad man one time did something bad to United States. Therefore, bad man must be deposed, regime change. Again, we could say that about roughly 100 countries in the world. Not impressed. Oh, Saddam Hussein, bad man. Muammar Gaddafi, bad man. He held Americans hostage. Muammar Gaddafi, maybe he shot down that one airplane. He's a bad man. Regime change. Not buying it. Maybe Trump did do you a favor. That's right. He did you a favor. He didn't do me a favor. My president should not be in the business of doing you a favor. No offense. Just like whoever becomes the president of Venezuela, I don't expect him to come pay my mortgage. I'd be happy if he did. I would say, thank you so much. But yes, Trump doing you a favor is not what I'm interested in. I'm sorry. Our government spends enough time doing people like you favors. My government cares more about people like you in Venezuela than they do about people like me. I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. No offense to you. I think we should all expect our governments, whatever country we're citizens of, to look out for ourselves first and foremost. Absolutely. I would fully expect, for example, Canada's government to be sticking up for Canadians first and foremost. As an American, if a Canadian president was like, I'm running on the promise of sending Americans a bunch of money, I'd say, I guess that's nice for me. But I would expect the people of Canada to say, wait a minute. Now, again, if you want to make the case that this is beneficial to the United States, I'm open to hearing that. And I wish nothing but the best for the people of Venezuela and every other peoples across the world. And to the extent that this may benefit them immensely, that's great for them. I'm very happy. I really am. I sincerely, I just don't think that evaluates what I want my government to do whatsoever. My government could also spend $1 trillion in Norway and make those people very happy. And they, if someone said, "But Rob, you have no idea how much that'll do for the Norwegian people," I'd say, I just don't give a shit. It'd be different if we had a government that did shit for the people back home. But every aspect, it seems that the government, it's just, if you work your fingers to the, for example, if you want to start a daycare here in the United States and you're an American citizen, good luck to you. It's a difficult job. In fact, I met someone at a Republican rally. She was supposed to do the show, a young lady from Philadelphia who started a Facebook page on this very issue. It'd be interesting to reach out to her and see if I could get her on the show, because she was big in promoting, like, grouping together of daycare owners and just how difficult it is. She ain't get no government help. But if you're foreign born and can't speak the language and you come here, here's millions of dollars. And on 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 and on. When the foreigners get here, they're treated better than the Americans. Our government's constantly focused on, what about the Ukrainian people? What about the Venezuelan people? What about the Syrian people? What about the Libyan people? What about the Afghani people? What about us? Could help get Venezuelans into the United States home. Sure. Or it could, during this period of instability, lead to more Venezuelans coming to the United States. Then what? Do we say it was a mistake then? Of course not. People that think this is good are going to say it's good no matter what. Now, it could be that this goes off without a hitch. There's a peaceful transfer of power next week. The Venezuelan president, whoever that person is, comes in, does tremendous for the Venezuelan people, agrees to sell oil to the United States at super cheap rates. It's a win-win. Great. I'm still not in favor of the intervention, but okay. They accepted that all Venezuelan migrants will be accepted as refugees. There you go. There you go. Here we have Kryptonite says, Rob, newsflash, the world is complicated. If the U.S. just focuses on itself exclusively for decades, guess what? Then problems will bubble up and it becomes a U.S. problem. Yeah, maybe that's interesting. I don't know. Why don't we try focusing on the U.S. for, how about one term? Let's start there. How about that? Why don't we focus on the U.S. for, I don't know, one term? Hey, Rob, it's complicated. We can't benefit the people back home. We can't. If we do, then more problems will come back home. So just shut your fucking mouth and watch your towns die. Shut up. Pay more in taxes, motherfucker. We don't want you to have problems. If we focus on your problems, more problems could come up. Yeah, I don't give a shit. You should have thought of that. The foreign policy hawk should have thought of that before 30 fucking years of selling out the working class in this country. Should have thought of that. But we have to continue to sell you out or our lives might get worse, says the wealthy elites. Not buying it. Don't give a shit. Drug boats coming to America. Cool. Let's invade China. Let's invade Mexico. How about this? Why don't we deal with the drug dealers in the United States? How about that? Again, name me a country in this world that you could say doesn't have negative things coming to the United States from. Now, by the way, the drug excuse, everybody in the know admits the drug thing's bullshit. That's not why they were invaded. It wasn't drugs. In fact, there's no evidence. In fact, the indictment of Maduro doesn't even mention drugs. Doesn't even mention it. It's bullshit. It's about oil. It's about Chinese influence. It's about extending a sphere of influence. Could be places like the Panama Canal's next. Those are the things that it's about, and there might be some other things. But drugs is far down the list. And that's another thing. Even this ends up being a good thing. I don't like the fact that we all basically know that the drug portion of this is bullshit. I don't like being lied to, even if it's necessary. I just don't like that. Oh, the gold. Yes. That's right. Drugs were the pretext. So when the people buy that and they go, well, it's because of drugs. Come on now. So was he dealing drugs? Probably. I don't know. So I wanted to point out though the whole Venezuelan celebrating thing. Some more super chats because I thought she posted again. Adam at $20 says, have this super chat for when the guy refunds his super chat. Anyways, thank you. If Venezuela pays us in oil, I have less of an issue with freeing Venezuela from Maduro, but only if Venezuela pays us for it. Yeah, we'll see. We will. I'll talk about that in a second. Cherry Blue, $10. Rob, I understand where you're coming from. The propaganda started 20 years ago. Please hear us out. Please. We are not Palestine. It's irrelevant to me if you're Palestine. I really, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry to say this. I just don't care from a political standpoint. I just don't. I truly believe that you are not a Muslim in Hamas, that's not the average Venezuelan. Yep, totally agree. Irrelevant to my calculus. I'm sure wonderful people, I'm sure. It does not matter. I'm sure there are wonderful people all across the world that the United States could be sending in troops and taking their leaders. I just don't care. That doesn't mean that we should be doing it. And I say this as someone, you're clearly a fan of the show, and I respect that immensely. I do. And as an individual, I am happy for you. I really am. But that's different than what I want my government to be doing. That's different. No, you don't have to apologize. My goodness. Like, for example, our buddy Crisco, who is Crisco's Canadian. If Trump does something that massively benefits Canada, and Crisco's like, yes, this is fucking great for me. I'm so happy. I'm happy for Crisco, of course. But I would say I don't think my government should be in the business of doing things to benefit Canada. If they did it for the United States and Canada happened to benefit, so be it. That's all. It's no hard feelings to people from other countries. So, who is it for? It was for the U.S. Oil companies in the United States that will offshore jobs as soon as it becomes convenient to other countries? Is that what it was for? Like I said, I'm against an interventionist mindset anyways, given the track record the United States has on interventions. I think that this is wrong, regardless of that, because it shows that the focus is more on Venezuela than it is back home. If you're an America First people, I saw someone put in the super chat, Maduro had to go. Sure, but that's like number 12 on the list. If exactly. Again, it's another thing. Even if I'm like, well, okay, not the end of the world, no big deal. Why is it that Lindsey Graham gets everything he wants? Why is that? Why is that? Finally, the John Brennans of the world, something to cheer about for the Trump administration. Still not us. Yes, the players in our backyard are on our side. How about the players in our front yard? Again, not to repeat myself from yesterday, but sphere of influence from China extends to Venezuela, so we invade Venezuela and depose their leader, while at the same time Trump says we need to bring in 500,000 Chinese students, because if we don't, rabid left-wing college campuses that my tax dollars go to hate me and to train people to hate my way of life would be harmed. So we have to invade Venezuela to stop China, but we have to bring Chinese people in to help the college campuses. Now, if I had to ask myself who's done more damage to me and my family and my country and my way of life, by a long shot, it's the university system in this country over Maduro. By a long shot. And yet Maduro had to go because of China, but the universities, we have to bring Chinese into our front yard to protect them. Why? It'll take a long time for the oil to be productive there, yes. There are other natural resources as well, though, but people keep saying Venezuelan war is already over. We'll see. Maybe. We'll see. If it would turn out that 2-3 months from now, a U.S. service member gets killed there, I just want you to come on and say, I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. Imagine that there's 100, like everyone in my community, rural in Pennsylvania. Let's say, Trump, there's 100 things we'd like you to have done. And on that list, number 87 happens to be something that Lindsey Graham wants done. 87 will get done. And then all the Lindsey Graham fans of the world will tell me, aren't you happy 87 got done? Shut your mouth now. And I'll say, yeah, but we also did a bunch of stuff that wasn't on my list that Lindsey Graham also wanted. Shh, but you got 87. By the way, congratulations, Sidney Crosby, number 87 today. Game-winning goal, come from behind, nice. We're getting about 80% of what we wanted. Don't be fucking stupid. Oh, I don't think I'm being good. I wanted universities to not continue to be corrupt. I wanted the corrupt deep state actors to be locked up. I haven't got any of that. Neither of those two things. I wanted mass deportations. We're barely getting any of that. So what am I getting? Border more secure. Okay. Other than that, I've got nothing that can't instantly be reversed as soon as the Democrat wins in 2028. Like that. Instantly. No dismantling of the deep state, just like I didn't get that in the first term. The problem is everybody thinks everything should happen to the snap of fingers. Snap of a finger, Venezuela's leader was deposed, but we couldn't do those things back here. Instead, when we're like, Trump, when are the deportations coming? He says, well, I talked to a lot of farmers, and they said a lot of these illegals are good people. And I was at a battery factory in North Carolina. It turns out a lot of these illegals are good people, and they're necessary. And when it comes to Chinese students coming in, well, we need 500,000 of them, or else the university system would suffer. And we're like, but Trump, we hate the university system. I wanted something to happen with the Charlie Kirk shit. Nothing happened. In fact, they couldn't even keep it in the news cycle. Nothing. I wanted the FBI revamped. Dan Bongino went there. He left. What's happened? Nothing. Now, do I think we're far better off with Trump in there and there's a lot of reasons why nothing's happened? Sure. But come on now. Of course. No one. You do just have to deal with it. Well, of course that's the case. But I think it's perfectly reasonable when Trump, and by the way, it's another thing, right? Like a lot of the people that support this just act like, of course Trump was going to do this. I mean, this was a dude who ran on no new wars, no regime change wars. That's why he was so great. Other presidents invade, he stops the wars. I didn't say we aren't getting any deportations. I said we're not getting anywhere near what was promised. We also got some deportations under Joe Biden. And does that mean that we should have been like, oh, never mind? I guess we can't be critical. This is a war. The semantic component, with all due respect, that's such bullshit. Sending your military to bomb another country and then kidnapping their leader and then saying, we occupy this until you get a new leader. That's a war. That's a war. I'm not interested in the semantics. Oh, no. It's not a war. It's a police action. If someone bombed DC today and their military came in and took Trump and Melania, would we say that was war? We'd say, well, it's not an act of war. That wasn't war. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's pieces of shit like this, right? I don't even think I'm being like overly hostile to the people that are disagreeing. I felt the same yesterday because I thought about it after the show yesterday and was like, am I being too hostile? But people are like, oh, you fucking crying. You're crying over the Iran thing. You're crying over this. Man, I get it. You want to blow Trump. I get it. I totally get it. You're a sycophant. I totally get it. You worship the ground Trump walks on. Totally get it. You were one that probably supported him when he talked about the lockdowns too, because you can't wait to hopefully get your hands on his Peter one day. I get it. I understand how you feel. When you're a fucking nobody that no one gives a shit about like you have to worship someone, and you've chosen to worship Trump. Now, you haven't done shit to help him out. I volunteered for his campaign twice, went to Republican event after Republican event, did callbacks, did signposting and all that shit, went to fundraising events to help him and shit. But when I'm critical of some of the policies he's instituting, some nobody like you that no one gives a fuck about wants to tell me that I'm this, that, and the other, and that blah, blah, blah. Fuck you. Huge swaths of Trump's base aren't happy with what's going on. And for you to be like, the FBI's done something, they've done something, and therefore why would anyone criticize them? I mean, go fuck yourself. Go blow the dude and leave us the fuck alone. No one cares what some irrelevant fucking nobody dick suck like yourself thinks. We just don't give a fuck. No one gives a fuck. You only provide amusement in that your sycophantry is something to mock and ridicule and say, don't become that. Don't become such a fucking loser that you're impossible to have negative reflection on the people that you support. Don't become that guy. Yes, the FBI's done things. Did the FBI do things under Joe Biden? Yes, they did things. They did things. Did you criticize the FBI under Joe Biden? I bet you did, you little bitch. And if I'd have said, oh, like the FBI isn't doing things, the FBI's done things, there have been a deportation or two, so how could you criticize it? Anybody who claims that this isn't a war is the same type of people that will tell you people of color can't be racist. That's the truth. War does not involve just a sustained armed conflict. If the United States dropped a nuclear weapon on Venezuela, would that be war? How long does a conflict have to be before it's considered war? I guess I'll say this. Fine. I will concede this isn't a war. It is a military action that I disapprove of. And those that approve of it because they say it's not war are people that are unprincipled and arguing semantics instead of the issue. How's that? I'm uninterested in your semantic games. It's not war. We know what Trump said, no regime change. What did that mean? Well, this isn't regime change, Rob, because the regime itself was illegitimate. And it's not war because actually it was just a bombing and invasion conflict that was a conflict that was a law enforcement and not a military action. So it's not war. Semantics are important to a debate to some degree. How is what I said different? Based on the fact whether it's defined as a war or not. Trump said no new wars. He said no regime change. And you're like, well, technically this isn't a war. I guess I assumed when Trump said no new wars that and wouldn't do regime change, I intuited that that would mean he wouldn't invade a country, drop bombs on there, take their leader, remove him, then say we're occupying that country until the regime gets in that we see fit. I assumed that was on the no list. And if you're like, oh, Rob, technically, actually, we don't define that as war. And so we don't think that this was something that Trump was suggesting he wouldn't do. I got tears running down my face. Do I? Really? No, it's not that I'm using war for the emotional charge that it carries. Now, to the point, no, regime change is a great point to discuss, but you make it harder. No, when I'm saying wars, I think colloquially what people understand is the idea that you have a country with their military invade another country, stay there, say that we now control this country until you get another regime and remove their leaders. They would qualify that as a war. I think that instead, if you want to use something like temporary conflict or something like that, or police action, that's actually doing the opposite, which is downplaying it. That's what I think. I don't even know that it would be considered the shortest war in history. I mean, again, I don't know what to say. If tomorrow a bunch of insurgents kill troops on the ground in Venezuela, are we still in the war then? Are we still in the conflict? After Bush declared mission accomplished in Iraq, was that no longer a war then? When did Iraq cease to become a war? Was it when mission accomplished was declared? Okay, there was never a Vietnam War. How do I know? Show me where the war in Vietnam's happening right now. Oh, it's not happening? Then there wasn't a Vietnam War. Yeah, Grenada did take it was like 2 or 3 days, I think, Grenada, right? What is the point that the guy made? Someone tell me what the point is. I will try to steelman the position. Rob, you said Trump, no new wars. And technically, I don't consider this a war because there wasn't a serious amount of fighting back from the country that was invaded. Therefore, you could call it a law enforcement action, a temporary military engagement, but you can't call it a war. Secondly, Rob, you're using the word war to supercharge, to drive some sort of emotional appeal. My argument to number one is I don't think something is called a war or not based on how effective the opposition was. I think that the fact where there was gunfire exchange, this was a conflict that resulted in the U.S. military dropping bombs, taking out people that were on the other side, their other military, which that side fired back on. Their leader deposed. We now occupying their capital city. I think this meets my definition of a war. However, even if it doesn't, it's clear that it's more connected to what most people would call war than it would be a temporary military conflict or something to that degree, because the idea of the continuing occupation and the deposition of the military leader makes it more akin to war. And so therefore, when it comes to argument two of the emotional appeal, I think that it's actually the opposite. It's trying to use an emotional appeal by avoiding using the word war. That's what I think. So what's the point that I'm not making? Where is it that I'm not steel manning? There was mutually organized conflict. Were there people firing back from the Venezuelan military? Yes. The U.S. Is the U.S. not occupying Caracas? It's not. So we just completely left. There's no U.S. assets on the ground anymore. Trump was incorrect when he said that we're going to be managing the country. Is Mexico sending over their cartels in an act of war? Maybe, maybe not. But that's different than if it is an actual war. If the Mexican military came in, bombed the White House, took Donald Trump, brought him back, and the U.S. military fired at them, yes, that would be a war, even if it was just a temporary one. Cartels are criminals that aren't official assets of the military is different. I think that the idea that there are people that are so, like, it seems just to me like people protest too much. It's not a war. It's not a war. It's not a war. Okay, who gives a fuck? Trump said we wouldn't do regime change. We did regime change. You guys are like, you said war. It's not a war. I think the over semantization of this is sort of ridiculous. No, but it's not. It's not an overreaching of policing power. When the U.S. military, when it was one military bombing another, an overreach of policing power would be like we nabbed Maduro when he was in another country with our police forces. Our military invading so that we could put boots on the ground to remove another country's leader and then saying, now we are in charge of your country. Seems like a war to me. Well, I don't think anyone thought we wouldn't be in another war. To me, there are things that Trump says that you have to be he's hyperbolic. It's like a used car salesman. But there's kernels of what he's saying that you should be like, okay, I think that he's like, for example, Trump says, I'll end the Ukrainian war in one day. You're an idiot if you're like, it's been day 2, so he's a liar. We get what he was saying, right? Trump saying no new wars. I don't think that would mean that I would hold Trump accountable if like China bombed New York City and then we're in conflict. Instead, what it seemed that Trump was suggesting, particularly when he's talking about regime change, is all these other presidents are super concerned about foreign policy. They're invading all of these other countries. They're messing with their political system and their leaders. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do regime change. We're not going to do wars. We settle things. We don't do that. That's what it seemed like Trump's promise was. So this isn't as simple as like, well, he tried. No, it's the exact opposite. It wasn't like, well, Venezuela attacked us and so we had no choice. Let's read super chats. Clint Tank, $5 says, if a foreign nation is using another nation to disable trade networks by attacking ships, should we invade that nation to reclaim our trade routes? No, I don't trust our foreign policy anymore. I think they're all a bunch of propaganda liars. Cherry Blue, $5 says, please, Rob, let me argue for Venezuela. I respect you so much. Please, argue away. No one's stopping you. Premonition, $5 says, until every U.S. citizen has a dwelling, food, medical care, and is free to go about their way, that should be the focus. Agreed. John Mitchell, $5 says, Rob, I understand you don't agree, but can you at least admit the military operation was kind of badass? Nobody else on earth can pull off what we did. Yes, and I'm going to talk about that. To Gooch, $20 for the goal, not one step back. Make Israel great again. Make Venezuela great again. Make America. Yeah. James Derryberry, $5 says, any chance Smartmatic 2020 election rumors are true? Monroe giving evidence as part of this. Could be. We'll talk about that as well. Psycher Carrig, $5 says, I think part of the issue is that it's probably easier for Trump to act in foreign arenas than domestically. That's definitely true. Wagira, 5 memberships. Thank you so much, man. Roy the Boy, $5 says, Trump, I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. It's good. Little Lando there for you. Adam Adamant, $10 says 9/11 on its own was declared an act of war. Calling this a war is valid. I just don't think all wars are equally bad. Right. The Cynic. Thank you so much. Becoming a member. Psycher Carrig, $10 says, I can agree that Trump's proposals for no regime change, no new wars was a selling point. I also don't want him to rule out military actions in our national interest. Time will tell on this. Yeah. And Psycher says, $5, by your logic, Venezuela initiated war because TDA has been acting as a state asset under Maduro. Hence their heightened status under the Alien Removal Act. Yeah, but still, even if you say that, I don't think that that justifies the war that we see it in this sense. I don't. This is the argument, by the way, that Trump's team's making. They started it, we're finishing it. That's the argument. I think there's different levels to it. Could Maduro be cooperating? Sure, it's a possibility. One of the things that can be a possibility of why this happened was that Venezuela's been involved in shady shit with prior regimes, including maybe in being hostile against Donald Trump. That could be. And part of the sales pitch might be to Maduro, hey, listen, we got you dead to rights. Your ass is going to spend the rest of your life in jail. Now, if you cooperate with us, maybe we can make something happen. That could be. Would it be worth it in that sense? Maybe. My stance isn't war bad. That's not it. I'm saying that Trump said, like, no wars, regime change type shit, and now he's doing it. And that the number one reason I'm against this is I don't like the world police, the U.S. invading, the U.S. doing regime changes. I don't mind military actions if necessary. For example, if Iran bombs a U.S. military base, am I opposed to the United States bombing military bases in Iran back? No, I'm not. It's sort of the regime changed U.S. is the world police type action that I'm against. The only reason I'm not saying war bad, I'm saying Trump said no new wars. Trump said we're going to have this America first policy, and I don't see that. I see this as sort of counterintuitive to what he said. And then people in the chat say, but this isn't a war. And I'm like, whatever, he said regime change too, but you're wrong. This does qualify as a war. We are the world police. We literally secure the world's trade routes. Since the United States has become the world police, what's happened to the people of the United States? The elite have got very rich. The middle class have been eroded. I'm done. Take care of back home. I did not like the bombing of the Iranian site. I did not. Now, as I said yesterday, is it possible that this will end up being a good in the long term? Sure. I'm not saying that there's never a time to initiate some sort of regime change of world policing. I'm not. What I've made the argument over and over again is that the United States neither has the competency or the benevolency to do it. Constantly we're told by people, but don't you want a world superpower that's policing all this shit? Sure, but we have our CIA. The same CIA and the same intel agencies like the FBI that literally were doing everything possible to take down Donald Trump are now running the show saying, oh, and now let's go do these foreign policy decisions, these regime change. I didn't trust them here domestically with all the fuckery they were doing, and I don't trust them internationally. I don't trust what they're doing in Ukraine. I don't trust what they're doing in Israel-Palestine. I don't trust what they're doing in Syria. I didn't trust what they did in Afghanistan. I didn't trust what they did in Libya. I was right in all of those. They didn't give a fuck about the people of those countries, but that's what we were told. Just like now, they don't give a fuck about the drug angle. That's just what we're being told. But Could it be that, like, for example, if you're like, Rob, here's a crystal ball. If Trump hadn't bombed Iran, within 5 years, nuclear weapon deployed in New York City. Now there won't be. Isn't that better? Sure, if I could see that crystal ball. But we can play this game with everything. Rob, lockdowns have to lock down. Crystal ball, if we wouldn't have locked down, 10 million more people would have died. Huh? I suppose. But that didn't stop me from being against lockdowns. But I'm not a pacifist. I'm not. Now, maybe what we see is this. Nope. Even if you're against this, here's some things we need to say, right? At this point, now things could go wrong. Let's be clear. U.S. service members may be killed at some point because of this. We could see terror attacks in the United States from Venezuelans because of this. Any number of things could happen. But as we sit here today, I don't know that I've ever seen a mission carried out with such efficiency. I would have thought that some of the people's claims of the might of the Venezuelan military were laughably overstated. But I would have said, I mean, it's going to take us some time to get Maduro. Maybe not months or years like bin Laden, but it's going to take some time. I am absolutely shocked at the skill that this was accomplished with. I mean, period. End of story. And I'd say this, I think I've made myself clear. I didn't really like it. But my goodness, if you're going to do it, you could not ask for it to be done better. I mean, I don't even know how many Venezuelans were killed, which is remarkable. It may have been done with like next to nothing when it comes to casualties, even of our enemies. You can't ask for cleaner than that. That's amazing. This was not leaked out in the media, and maybe a big reason of that was the Senate Armed Service Committee wasn't involved. Wink, wink. Now, I want you to look at this operation compared to the withdrawal of Afghanistan, which ironically was a policy that I supported. There was a military policy that I supported, withdrawing from Afghanistan, and yet was done in as stupid as a way as humanly possible. Here we see the exact opposite. I'm willing to accept that no administration, whether I like them or dislike them, are going to do a litany of things I don't like. And I'm not going to get what I want all the time. And that's true on foreign policy. And I might not be 100% right on my foreign policy. I think I have good reasons for believing what I do, nonetheless. That's the truth. So to see Trump allow the military to enact with competence is truly awe-inspiring. I mean, and what I would like to see, one of the things I hope comes from this is that America's enemy saw that and was like, whoo, damn. Maybe the cartels in Mexico saw that and went, fuck. Now, regardless if I was in favor of this, I hope that it ends up very great. I would love to eat crow and say, fuck yes, look at that. I'm just not going to change my principles because a guy I voted for did it. That's what I'm saying. Mexico would be a lot harder. I agree. But not undoable. Could it be that this will result in Maduro cooperating and talking about crimes that deep staters in the United States and elsewhere were involved with him in? Maybe crimes affecting elections in the United States or the Western world? Pushing drugs intentionally into countries? It could be. Would that be good if that gets outed? Yes. Because I think the cartels are more extensive in Mexico. I think it's been shown that the president in Mexico is sort of a puppet, that no matter who's there, the cartels are going to have a foothold. So it's not going to be as simple as removing one person. So you might be able to get the Mexican president, but is that going to stop the cartels there? Meh. And I think the Mexican military would probably put up somewhat of a little more of a fight. So they could end up positively. I'm not saying that. And by the way, I would say the same thing of, theoretically, even though I was remarkably against it, the bombing of Syria, both Trump and Biden did, could have ended up positively. The ousting of Gaddafi could have ended up positively. It's just the pattern that we have seen over and over shows that that isn't the case. And make no mistake, if it ends up negatively, people will just say, see, that was all the more reason to do it. It's sort of, once more, it's Schrodinger's invasion, right? Schrodinger's regime change. If we do regime change and it turns out that this leads to Americans dying, they'll say, see how dangerous Venezuela was? We were justified to do it. And if it turns out that there is no blowback like that, they'll say, see, we were right to do it. There was no blowback. You see? I understand the culture of the Middle East is different than South America. South America elected Chavez. Venezuela elected Chavez. Now, if the U.S. loses its superpower status in the next 20 years, there's going to be an awful lot of fucking axes to grind from around the world. And you might say that would have been the case anyways, but yeah, Noriega. So, if it's just, we brought this guy back, we're out, we're not fucking with Venezuela anymore, okay, that's one thing. But Rob, that'll leave a power vacuum, etc. Maybe. Then it's like, well, okay, then we have to stay there. Okay, but how long? Do we have any clue on what does staying there look like? We've got scant details. What's that going to look like? If it's, no, they're holding elections next week and then it's all good. Okay, that's not as bad. If it is that the U.S. has some sort of permanent residency there, just like in Afghanistan or Syria, yeah, it's a fucking disaster. We don't want that. And I also don't like it because even if I accept that it could be okay, I think that it shows that the priorities of this administration are not the most significant priorities that I have. It's not weeding out corruption in places like the FBI. It's not stopping the unfettered migration. It's not punishing the people that allowed it, like with these Somalian daycares. It's not mass deportations. That's not the policy. That's not the priority. And I think that's a shame. And I think it's a big mistake. Because the stakes are very high. And if Trump doesn't do something, it's going to be game over for him and probably the majority of us. Joseph Romano, thanks so much for becoming a member. Appreciate it. Clan Tank, thanks so much. $5 says Rob. Sure, we do some shady stuff as the world police, but would you trust Russia or China being the world police? No. If they try to police us, fuck them, go to war. They want to police their own fucking backyard, fine, let them. I don't give a fuck. If that's how you feel, Clan Tank, go over, man. Volunteer to serve, go. You'll be good until you're like 45 or so. I don't like it. I don't like my friends going and dying in Afghanistan because, well, we have to or else China or Russia would. Sorry, not buying it. I know this. Since the United States has been the world police, we've went for the best quality of life in the world for our working class and middle class to it diminishing every year. And each time we're told, but we have to or things would be worse. The priorities are about international affairs as opposed to domestic, about selling out the manufacturing of the United States. And it's not been good. Ida Billy, $20 says, Rob, what are your thoughts on all the people screaming about this operation being unconstitutional and illegal? I personally do have a problem with the fact that we just have presidents that sort of take these foreign policy decisions basically on their own. Though that's not true. Let me rephrase. Executive branches that do it. The president probably has very little to do with it, if we're being honest with it. But at this point, no one gives a fuck. Why would I care? Was it illegal when Obama did it to Libya? So, I guess it's par for the course. We'll talk a little more about that in a second. Roy the Boy, $5 says, what's your threshold for cartel actions unofficially sanctioned by a foreign state that would warrant military intervention against that state? Exactly $3.7 billion, $273,123, and 14 losses of life. I don't know. What the fuck do you mean, what's my threshold? What's your minimal threshold? Any one country that's ever had any one drug dealer that somehow worked with that country, we should go to war with that country and depose their leaders? Again, I can't stress this enough. Interesting philosophical questions, but no one, and I repeat this, no one who is looking at this in any serious way buys the drug angle. No one. And so if that's your argument, if you're still buying the drug angle, you're a sucker. You're a sucker. It's not what's going on. I would say that if international gangs are doing bad shit in our country, then we have the right to try to cooperate with the governments of those countries to take out the international gangs. If those international gangs are doing enough damages and those countries refuse to cooperate, then we should be allowed to do clandestine actions to take out those international gangs. That would not mean that we would go after the world leader that refused to take action. That's what I would say. If they prove he was dealing with drugs, who cares? Maduro was dealing with drugs. And my point is, that is not the reason that he was deposed. If your argument is, quote, any world leader that was dealing with drugs, that would pretty much mean every United States president, every European president, every South American president, every Asian president. See the issue? Cartels are essentially the government there. Then attack the cartels. Is there any war that you people cheering on would be against? Any that was done by Trump? If Trump said, trust me, bro, they were doing drugs. Cartels were there. Can you name me the country that you would be against it? Use the support. If Trump's team came out and said, dude, seriously, super serious, trust us. They had cartels there, so we had to take them out. There is not a chance. There is not a chance that you people saying this would be against any one of them. Japan. The Yakuza runs Japanese government. They have so many, they're involved in fentanyl so bad. Yeah, they can't go after Big Pharma. They can't. They can't do that. Can't do that. You know, the actual drugs that are killing scores of people in this country. They can't do that. Can't go after Big Pharma. Yep. Oh, you know, it's about international influence. Oh, okay. I can accept. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. We got to stop China from getting a seat in our backyard. But we're inviting him in the front door. I'm not talking to a person, I'm talking to the chat. My argument's not I don't buy it. My argument is that me and almost everyone in the know knows that this wasn't about drugs first and foremost. I don't know how many drugs are being ran from Japan. I know plenty, the majority of the fentanyl is coming through China, and we're leaving in. Does anyone disagree with that? Everyone who's for this. So just to the people that are for this, the military action, so I don't get anyone to clutch their pearls and say war, the military action that we just saw in Venezuela, anyone that's for it, do you acknowledge, if you're for it, do you acknowledge the vast majority of fentanyl, well, one, that fentanyl is the most dangerous drug, and second, the vast majority of it's coming from China? Everyone agree with that? If someone disagrees with that, I'm absolutely willing to hear from you. Okay. Lulu says no. Where do you think, which country do you think the majority of fentanyl is coming? No, you disagree that fentanyl is the worst, or no, you disagree that China's most responsible? It's a foreign country. If you're going to say no, it's the United States, blah, blah, blah. Lulu's the only person that disagrees, so we'll move forward from that. Okay. Given that, why does Trump publicly praise allowing 500,000 Chinese students in? If that's what it's about, if it's about stopping Chinese access, if that's what this is about, I can accept that. I can accept, look, fuck China, fuck this fentanyl. Somehow they were working with Venezuela. We ain't putting up with that shit. Fuck China. So there, we take them out. I accept. But then why are we intentionally allowing 500,000 Chinese in? Can anyone answer? I could steelman to the best of my ability. We'll use Trump's response, because if we didn't, it would hurt our economy by hurting these campuses. Because they are not communist, are you? Yeah, I agree. Fuck those campuses. No, I don't believe it's because they're hoping some will turn against the CCP. I think it's because Trump is actually telling the truth here. Because he feels this helps. That if we kicked out those 500,000, that a lot of campuses would then not have enough people for tuition, and they would default. They would not be getting enough tuition to continue to operate. And he doesn't want that to happen because that employs a lot of people. And that would look bad for job numbers, et cetera, et cetera. Do we have hard proof the fentanyl is from China? It seems the majority of the evidence suggests that it is created in China, or at least that the materials come from China that allow it to be created. But I think we have more proof of that than it's created in Venezuela. I've yet to see any proof of that. Doesn't matter if they send the precursor, China out of the equation. Rob is retarded for real. He thinks he's smart. I think I'm of average intelligence. I think I have good political instincts. And I think most of the people that say things like that when they call in get embarrassed. But I think of all the people that stream and debate and stuff, I probably have less of an intellectual opinion of myself than most. I have no idea what my IQ is. I know this. When I debated and did very well in debate in college, and I qualified for the national debate tournament, I shit you not, this is no hyperbole. I had to be, if not the bottom, in the bottom 3 for my SAT score of every debater that was at that tournament. That's no joke. And I was still better than probably half the field there in the game of debate. But when it came to just, if I had took an IQ test, I'd have been at the bottom. My SAT scores were basically at the bottom. So I don't know. But more super chats. Zach Gilpy, $20. What's up, man? Says, Rob, do you think Trump could walk and chew gum and that what we're seeing in foreign policy side is more immediate, but it's going to take more time to see the results of what we are doing domestically? Maybe. I'll get to that. Don't worry. I only wanted to spend 20 minutes on this topic. I'm an hour and 20 in, but I do want to get to that. Thank you for the 20. Taylor TC, $5 says, option C, new leader a month until the ruling class, gets on board. And if those nations are leading by international gangs, then what? Clan Tank, $5 says, as a former heroin addict, I can tell you that most of the fentanyl is synthetic and definitely it's coming from China. Yeah. And Taylor, $5 says, right-wing pro-immigration folks are graft go-up boomers. There is truth to that. Being a magnet for global brain power is a secret weapon. Yeah, well, I think the secret weapon is diminishing people like me's life with our Ivy League schools. Part 2, that falls apart when the rate of immigration is such that there isn't acculturation or the brain power goes home to China, right? I haven't read The Art of the Deal. That's true. I've read parts of it, but I haven't read it from like front to back. All right. Is it possible that this is the beginning of Trump doing a bunch of shit domestically? Sure. And is it that it is harder to do things domestically? Yes. We'll talk about that in a minute. Now, here's the deal. I've said my piece at this point on this. Now I'm going to seemingly pivot. And I'm going to start talking about my show. Well, okay, real quick before I do that. Yes, China has nukes, Venezuela doesn't. But I don't think that China's going to deploy nukes if we said, you know what, we're not going to import 500,000 Chinese students to our campuses. I don't think that would result in a nuclear exchange. I think it's more likely that nukes would be deployed if we take out an ally like Venezuela militaristically. I think that's a higher chance for a global conflict than just saying, we don't want your students here anymore. Anyways, I get a lot coming. Bear with me, because it's not just going to be boring about the channel stuff. We're going to bring it back to Venezuela here. So I have no problem with people that disagree with me on this. Some people are like, you're crying, you're a bitch, fuck those people, but whatever. We got the word war stuff that's coming up this week, and I'm going to talk about a little of that later. Now, part of that's going to be tomorrow. We are going to start at 8 p.m. having an episode of Law and Order with me and Ryan Mullally, who's going to be debating at Word War. And I'm hoping that Pisco comes on. And they're going to talk a little shit, like a little bit of a promo, like a wrestling promo, right? Maybe they'll do that tomorrow. But I'll be leaving Thursday during the day. And then immediately following Word War, I am going to be traveling as well. I'll be hopping on an airplane out of Philadelphia, and I'm going to be doing some work for the Crucible. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what that work is, but it's going to be a decent amount of time away from home. So I'll be gone with Word War for 3 days, and then immediately preceding that, being gone doing some work for the Crucible. So very excited for that. In addition, starting tomorrow, I think we're going to start around 10 a.m. I hope I'm not breaking anything. I don't think that Andrew will give a shit, but so Andrew is starting, he does the TikTok invasions, but he's going to do something that's going to be amazing. It's called the TikTok Siege, right? And what it's going to be is, instead of just prioritizing going into other people's TikTok channels, we're going to set up a place where Andrew, me, some other folks like Jake Rattlesnake, maybe Jim Bob, folks like that, we're going to set up a panel and allow lefties to come in over and over. and we're going to wreck them. And so the plan is we're going to do this multiple times a week, and it's going to be during the day. So we're thinking tentatively it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And I'm going to try to be a part of that every single time. Now, that will be streamed on my channel, but unfortunately, that'll just be literally what you can see over in the Crucible will be broadcast here. The reason for that is, till I get the new computer set up, the best way that I could think to do this is to literally just screen capture and audio capture Andrew's YouTube video and then call in to the Siege on my phone because I can't get the TikTok studio working on my computer. You're muted.
Damn it. I said that'll be done at the end of the month and we'll have it all.
Yeah. So that's going to be what's going on. Now, what this does mean is that's going to take time away from my daily call-in shows, though. Right? So normally I've been doing the call-in shows Tuesdays, Thursdays, or I had been doing them 5 days a week at noon. Then I had limited to Tuesdays, Thursdays starting last week. This week, there will be no daytime call-in shows. There should be tomorrow around 10 a.m. TikTok Siege that you'll be able to find on this channel. But I'm so busy with these projects coming up that I'm probably going to just hold off on my regular daytime show. Still be doing the nighttime show until Thursday, but I wanted to let you know that. And then there is a lot of other shit coming up as well. And so it is going to be a busy month. Now, when I'm gone, I'm going to try to take my computer. I'm going to try my laptop. I'm going to try to stream. So we'll see how that goes. So the TikTok Siege stuff, and I don't need to tell you this, but we're going to fucking dominate that space. And the idea is amazing, right? We'll each have our own fun, like one at a time demolishing these lefties. It's not going to be a group of us. The idea is one of us at a time. Some lefty calls in and wants to talk about immigration policy. Maybe Jim Bob talks about it. Someone comes in and wants to talk about sort of like wokeism or something. Maybe Andrew takes it. Someone calls in and wants to talk about economic policy. Maybe I take it, etc. So that's the idea. So it should be tomorrow at 10 a.m. Now that's subject to change, obviously, but I did talk to Andrew about that tonight. And so yeah, I'm looking at starting that tomorrow, hopefully doing that Wednesday. All the shit for Word War, I'll be leaving Thursday during the day. I'll be out there working diligently on the Word War project. Of course, the 10th is that event. You absolutely all should be getting your tickets. Go to wordwardebate.com and get those tickets. It's going to be great. But then I wanted to talk about, on top of that, what I'm going to do as a brand for my channel, because I think that it's going to be changing. Now, I pride myself on, I just don't give a fuck. In fact, worse than that, I'll tell you a story. This is a story that shaped me growing up. I've told this story before. We were teenagers. I was maybe 13. We were throwing a baseball. My dad always told me, be careful throwing the baseball because, like, my neighbor had a shed. And we used to throw the baseball up on top of the roof of the shed. And then, like, me and 3 other kids, we'd have our ball gloves. And it'd roll down the hill or roll down the roof and we'd see. And my dad was always like, don't do that. You're going to ruin their shed. So we're out there one day and my friend threw the ball and just, like a tough guy, was trying to throw it too hard and went right through the window of the shed. And then, like, so the top pane of a window, like a normal looking window, through the top pane and then out the other side of the shed, there was a window directly across from it and went through the bottom pane. So it smashed both windows and it sucked. And, you know, I went and told my dad and he was pissed at me. He's like, get in the fucking house, blah, blah, blah. And, even though I didn't throw the ball, nonetheless, he was pissed. Then he's out there shooting the shit to my friends that, like, threw the ball. Hey, what's up, guys? Blah, blah, blah. So we get in the house, I'm like 13. I'm like, why are you so mad at me and not them? And he's like, because you're mine. And that stuck with me, right? Sometimes, and I think this is something that Trump does as well, right? Trump looks at an enemy like Kim Jong-un or Xi or Putin, and it's like, I'm going to assuage their ego. Good leader, strong, doing good for their country. says nice words, and then his actions are aggressive. And then Trump looks at our friends, like the European Union or NATO countries, and is like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Pay up more. He's harder on them. They're supposed to be your friends. You're supposed to be your allies, right? That's how I feel. Like when I see things that I don't like from an administration that I overwhelmingly support, and I have people shit on me. Maybe it's different for other people. Like I'm the type of guy that could fucking argue with someone, and then that's okay. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. I don't mind. Right? I could be like, fuck Trump for this, and yeah, I'm still going out hitting the pavement, trying to do things to support Trump and to get people he wants reelected and to get people like him reelected. And so many people, like I had someone say to me on X, I noticed this comment. It was like, fuck you. What do you, like, they didn't say fuck you. It was like, what are you going to do? Sit around and do nothing? And it's like, yes, maybe you could characterize it as that. But I do think I do some. I'm not saying I do all I can. But I absolutely try to do real world stuff to help Republicans, many of whom I disagree mightily with on many things, to help Trump. And me criticizing when I see things that I don't like doesn't mean that all of a sudden I don't support them. So, I hope that people don't take what I'm about to say in the wrong light. I still am going to mightily criticize Donald Trump. I'm still going to mightily criticize so many of the Republicans. But make no mistake, this is not advocacy for the Democratic Party or the Democrats. I might say when I think a Democrat did something well. But one thing that I'm seeing is that our election cycles become longer and longer. And quite frankly, we're in war. Which, fuck you all for the semantic shit, because I knew I'd be talking about this later tonight. For the semantic shit about war. We are in a war. The globalist establishment elites that are using the left wing as sort of their front face fucking hates us. And we could be at a place where it's too little too late anyways. I am serious. I get it that you're saying I'm soft and all this shit, and that the U.S. soldiers stand there even when softies like me. Then you go, man. You go and fucking lose limbs. Go fuck yourself. Big fucking keyboard warrior. And I know, Mr. Anonymous, I did serve. I served in combat zones. Then go again, bitch. You want to sit there and call me a coward? You're too soft for this, blah, blah, blah. You get your feelings hurt. You get your feelings hurt. Go, you little fucking bitch. You coward keyboard warrior. Why don't you show your face and your real name, you fucking bitch-ass coward? Or are you too soft for that? You too soft? Bitch? I was. There he is, Mr. Anonymous. I was in the infantry. Then get your fucking ass back over, coward. What'd you see something that scared you, you little bitch? Ran home pissing your pants? Huh? Is that what you did? Oh, I'm so scared to go over now. You fucking bitch. If you served honorably, your behavior here belies it, you fucking cowardly loser. Show your real name and face, you fucking puss. You're just too sissy. You don't understand. Fuck you, bitch. I heard your macho man bullshit. People like you saying the same shit about the Iraq war and Afghanistan. Why watch my friends fucking die? You fucking loser. Only fake fucking tough guys that never actually saw conflict talk like you fucking pussy bitch. All my friends that served and saw conflict wouldn't say that. In fact, many of them are more anti-intervention than me. You gonna call them a bitch too? Are they too soft that lost limbs that suffer from PTSD because what they saw over there? You don't agree with my take? That's fine. But don't feed me this line of shit. Oh, it's because you're soft, blah, blah, blah. Fuck you, keyboard warrior. You gonna say that when I bring on my friends one after another that served in combat and were wounded that say, hey, we should stop these wars? You gonna say that to them too? They're too soft? Where did I say I wanted to protest Trump? You fucking loser. As I'm explaining, that basically I'm going to war with the left, that I'm going to spend the next year saying I'm doing whatever I can to get Trump elected and Republicans elected, and I'm going to, even though I have things in my head that I dislike about them, that I'm going to put it on the back burner to try to win these midterms. This fucking loser piece of shit, you're just too soft. You just don't get it. I did not serve. I was too much of a coward to serve. My friends fought and died in Afghanistan. My country set them there. Where did you serve? What's your name? Let's check your record. Go ahead. Let's hear your name. Give us your name. Show us proof of your served. Show us where you were in conflict. Then I'm going to bring on friends that were in more conflict that say, you're a bitch and you just eat crow, okay? You're too nice. You don't get it. That's absolutely true in my point, Legatus. The idea of saying that, oh, if you're against it, you're too soft and you're like a coward and blah, blah, blah. Well, no, that's not true. There are very hard people that actually fought and served that would also be against it. Being soft or being fucking brave and had been in the blood and guts and shit's irrelevant to the point. You never did. Oh, you never saw conflict. Well, there you have it. Just lost a subscriber. Goodbye. We'll see you later. No hard feelings. Goodbye. I love when people say that. When you say I was a subscriber, I'm leaving. You sound to me it's like all these like celebrities are like, well, now that Trump won, I'm leaving. I'm leaving X, everyone. Good, goodbye. I'm serious. I'm gonna leave. Okay, see ya. I'm super serious. Goodbye. Look, if it's like, I don't know, if someone did just post after post is like, you're too soft, you're soft. Don't worry, you're soft, you're nice and soft. You don't understand. You need people to protect you and blah, blah, blah. Then when I finally push back, whoa, you're pushing back for no reason. If your argument is that I'm too emotional, fine, great. Not the right channel for you. I'm probably even far more emotional and loud when I'm pushing back against the ideas of the left than here. It's not for you. I get it. You're a stoic. Good for you. Good luck finding a channel. Anyways, now that we dealt with that. So, given that I have serious reservations about some of this stuff, what I'm saying is I'm going into campaign mode. And I'm not saying from this point forward I won't say things that I think are critical. But I'm going to spend the overwhelming amount of my focus on the things that Trump has done well and why it's important to vote for him, and not so much him, obviously, but the people that will help him, which are Republicans. I'll take this under no circumstance am I saying that I don't have opinions that are critical of these groups. But at this point, I think that the most important thing is to push for these campaign victories that we're going to have. Election season's longer and longer every year. And I'm going to start going into campaign mode now. Well, hey, maybe I should have talked for the country. Maybe I should have. Maybe you should have. You didn't fight, right? You didn't see combat. So maybe you're good on fighting, or maybe you're good on talking. Clearly, you weren't good on fighting. When the campaign ends. So maybe 2006, 2000 or 26, 2027. Lavin, $10 says, another more lighter news. NASA's Artemis 2 will launch as early as February 6th. Send astronauts to orbit the moon for the first time since 72. Artemis 3 will send astronauts to the surface. That's awesome. Python Beacon, thanks for being a member. Postal Joe, 7 months, thanks, says, is change going to be even more whip songs? No. Fuck it button, $5 says, I didn't expect Drill Sergeant Rob tonight, but I like it to the anger that justified for our brothers that are no longer here to yell with us. Thank you. And Crisco, $10 says, you know what would make a good campaign video? Going fishing. Think of all the clips. Yeah, but I'm a bad fisherman. No one wants to see a bad fisherman. Scott's butt, $1 over in Rumble says, Rob, I have a Michigan rep who might be interested in coming on. Best way to get a hold of you about potential topics and otherwise get you guys connected. X. My DM's on X. So in that sense, first off, every single fucking Democrat that was out there saying, oh, Maduro needs to go. Trump's like, oh, Trump's in bed with Maduro. Maduro's a strong man like Trump. Can shut right the fuck up. Every one of them. Every single one of them. Now, yes, there is a steelman position I can make. It's like, well, we wanted him to go and we wanted the U.S. to help, but it wouldn't have been in this way. Well, if things go as it seems thus far, this was about as painless as possible. What would you have preferred? Sanctions that would have hurt the people on the ground in Venezuela? Is that what you would have preferred? So many times we see these sanctions actually have a counterintuitive effect. It actually doesn't hurt the actual leaders that you're concerned with, and actually harms the people that you claim to be wanting to help. In addition to that, Democrats had no problem with a bunch of interventions that were done by Obama and Biden. Libya, anyone? So spare me this bullshit. Truth be told, their opposition to this, not all of them, but the vast majority of them, their opposition to this is Orange Man bad. That's what it was. Had Trump tried to work with Maduro, for example, they'd say that's bad. Had Trump done nothing, and then 2028 a Democrat win, and they decide that they were going to depose Maduro, they would have celebrated and said, see, Trump should have done that. He couldn't do it. Don't forget Kamala Harris, I believe. Let me get this right. I have this. I got the post. Let me see. This is from January 10th, 2025. The Biden administration said on Friday it was offering $25 million for information leading to the arrest of Maduro, president of Venezuela, after he assumed a third term in office despite evidence suggesting that he lost the election. The announcement was a retaliatory measure by Washington, which does not recognize Maduro as the rightful president of Venezuela. Maduro has presented no evidence that he won a July election, while his opponent Edmundo Gonzalez has presented thousands of publicly available vote tallies that he says indicate he easily won the most votes. The United States has said that Mr. Gonzalez is the president of Venezuela and has urged Maduro to step aside. Okay, well, if that's the Democrat talking point, why are they out there bitching now? Trump didn't depose, according to the Biden administration, Trump didn't depose the president of Venezuela. He deposed a fraud. And Gonzalez was the duly elected president. That's what he did. So spare me. I'm not interested. I also don't give two fucks about international law. I'm sorry. Should we keep up the pretenses of international law? Sure. Should there be sort of like an agreement that in an ideal world would bind countries under a sort of framework for this sort of stuff? Yeah. But international law is a fucking joke. It's at the whims of whoever has power. If the international consensus is sovereignty doesn't matter when it comes to invading Syria, fine, fuck it, invade away. But if it does matter in Ukraine, then oh my gosh, that violates international law. I'm sorry. International law says that the United States has to take in all these refugees. Fuck you. That's what I think of that. Was it a violation of international law when, where were some of these elections? I can't remember it right now, but was it like Poland? Wasn't there another country that like the entire Western world was like, even though there was a legitimate election, was like, nah, we don't recognize it. Remember that? Happened like 6, 7 months ago. They pick and choose when they see fit. Either sovereignty matters under international law or it doesn't. Romania, that was it. Thank you, Imaginarium. Yeah. Either we have to respect the elections or we're allowed to question them. So that's my feelings on the international law portion of this. Steelers won, huh? Did they win or is the game just ongoing? Let's check the score. Shocking. They won. My goodness. Penguins won today, too. Well, that's bad news. That means Mike Tomlin will remain the quarterback or coach. Anyways, no one's hear that shit from me. So I'm not concerned about this international law portion of shit.
All right. Now that portion has concluded, I had one thing to freshen up with you before we move on. And so, did you make sure to go over the TikTok words you can and cannot use while on TikTok?
No, I'll check that out. That's fine.
Okay. So, did we go over the new words that you must use?
No.
Okay. So, I made a little list here for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. For of course, suicide, you have to use, you obviously know this one, unaliving, right? You can't use sex. You have to use spicy time or wild thing.
Okay.
You know, you can't use porn. That has to be corn. All right. You can't use grape. Obviously, that's grape. You can't use that here. So across the board, you can't use the word kill at all. You have to use unalive. Like I will unalive you. You can't use kill.
Okay.
Gun or shoot is pew pew or bang bang. And you can't say lesbian, gay, or queer. There's a lot of things that people use in replace of, but my favorite two is the dollar bean and the alphabet army are my favorite two contenders. You can't use the word thick, so no one can call you thick there, so you're safe.
Oh, thank goodness.
All right? Yeah, but you can use extra. You can use curvy. That's the word they use, curvy. You can't use cigarette or smoking. You have to use cancer stick. So, and that includes vape. Anna, you have to use gardening or the leaf emoji. So yeah,
Okay.
you call it weed gardening. And then, of course, abortion is smortion. So, got the list for you.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
we'll see how that goes.
Your leftist TikTok friendly words.
Well, thank you. We'll try our best with it. Yeah, that's fun. So, yeah, that's what I feel about the international law portion of this. Now, some other things I was going to take care of while talking about this. Joel Webon has what I think is the best. This is sort of making fun of the Trump administration, but I don't care. I thought it was funny. Joel Webon wants Trump administration to know, I hear there's oil in Somalian daycare centers. We just have to know how to talk about these things. So there we have it. If we could really just push to Rubio and company. By the way, I think these Somalians have some oil. Maybe they're running drugs as well. Maybe we could deal with that. That'd be all right. So let's get on that. Here's the other thing. I was talking about the Monroe Doctrine. I think you guys are pussies. That's what I think. Monroe Doctrine. This is bullshit. For those who don't know, the Monroe Doctrine basically just says we're allowed to, like, in our hemisphere, we're allowed to do whatever the fuck we want, right? Yeah, Webben had the documentary calling Christians gay. The Don Roe document. Or doctrine, right? Yeah, it's the Don Roe doctrine now. But I think this is shit. You guys are thinking of this all wrong. Why am I concerned with the Western Hemisphere? How about the Northern? I say fuck it. Instead of the Monroe Doctrine, let's do the Roman Doctrine and take over Europe. The Northern Hemisphere is our hemisphere, right? Fuck it. Why don't we black bag Keir Stormer and do something worthwhile, right? You want to see people fucking dancing on the streets? Why don't you take Keir Starmer? You know what his popularity levels are in the United Kingdom? Right? Let's take that motherfucker. Bring him back here for charges, right? There's countries that are having undue influence on the United States. Take a look at the fuck Brussels. Don't fucking go in there, right? Why does everybody say that? They're like our hemisphere. They only mean West. Aren't we also in the northern hemisphere? Why isn't that our hemisphere as well? Yeah, Bibby. Why not? Fuck it. Yeah. We want the northern. If you had to choose the western or the northern hemisphere, which one would you choose? I'd take the northern all day, man. Fuck South America. That's chump change. We want Europe. We want Russia. We want fucking China. Let's take all that. That's the hemisphere. I suppose then, the only hemisphere, portion would be, the southeast. So we'll leave fucking Jake Rattlesnake in Australia alone, right? Australia can remain. The rest of it's ours. We don't want that fucking shithole anyways. Penal colony. We're taking. That's the wrong axis, dude. Is it? Do you really not get what I'm saying? Ah. Shut up, bro. You're a libertarian, not an American. Us. You're an anonymous puss that served in the military but was too much of a bitch to go fight in actual conflict zones. So instead, you hid behind your brothers that were actually braver than you. Go fuck yourself. See ya. Now, there's the West and East hemisphere, and then there's the North and South hemisphere. That's what I'm saying. So it's not a matter of being on the wrong axis. Yeah, Greenland. Take over Greenland. That's true. Fight sports suck. I did call you a pussy because you're not an isolationist, but it's my show. So you start your show and you can call me a pussy on there. How's that sound? I'll say it again. Just so you know, all of you these are the types of people that are you pro Venezuelan. Neocons like this are the people that are cheering this on the llamas. That wants us at war with Russia, wants us to continue to fund Ukraine, wants boots on the ground there. Just so you know. But fight sport. Well, seeing as how I'm now interested in pushing in the right direction, thank you so much for your time, Fight Sports Up. Don't have time to argue with people that are going to try to detriment my mission to take down these left wingers. So good luck to you over in your channel there, Fight Sport Talk. Can we choose poles instead of hemisphere? Why not? Venezuela also in the northern hemisphere? Part of it, right? Or is all of it? Am I this bad geographically? Let's check. I thought part of it was in the northern hemisphere. What is going on? Man, it's harder than you would think to just find a decent world political map online here. Maybe if I type. I was fascinated as a kid with the idea that there are different types of maps. I thought that was the coolest shit. No, it looks, wow, I'm shocked. Yes, Venezuela is also the northern hemisphere. I thought that part of it, but here, I don't know if you can see this. I thought that the bottom tip went into the southern hemisphere, but I'm wrong. Almost touching the equator. There you have it. See? Problem solved. If we just took the northern, we'd get Venezuela as well. We don't have to fuck with it. It's Colombia that slightly goes into the south. Well, there you have it. What a tool I am. Damn geography. Beating my ass, of course. Yeah, I thought that I knew that the majority was in the north, but I didn't know that it was all. I'm very bad with geography. I heard about this band once. I forget who it was, but they were touring. It was like sort of modern band, like in the last 20 years. And they spent a lot of time on tours bus and shit like that. And what they decided to do was like every day they would memorize a country and its capital until they just like could recite. And then they would, and where it was on a map, you know. I was like, that's pretty good. Now I have to worry about Venezuela. Shit! I thought I was getting out of the debate by saying that I was just for the northern hemisphere. And I fucked it up. Well, there we go. By the way, I thought this was, I'm sure I'll get in shit for playing this. I don't care. This was a good take on the attack.
There is no just cause for an invasion of Iraq.
Well, that may be. But what we're all forgetting is anyone who doesn't want to go to war is gay.
I want to go to war. Oh, yes, we should definitely go. Yes, we should totally go.
I was the first one who wanted to go to
war. Old Family Guy. This is good shit. This is good stuff. Is that the same episode where Peter's giving a speech and he's against, no, I don't think it is, the cigarettes one. And he goes in front of Congress and he's like, cigarettes are bad. And the guy stands up, he's like, cigarettes killed my father and raped my mother. That's good shit. And then did you see the thing the whitest kids you know put up? They uploaded this to their YouTube page today.
Yeah, those bears appear to have guns and motorcycles.
We believe they may be involved in some sort of intergalactic drug cartel, perhaps affiliated with one of the interstellar wizard alliances.
Wizard alliances?
Yes, next question.
Just a thought, more of a shot in the dark, but we wouldn't happen to be invading
Venezuela
today, would we?
You got me. You got me.
I fell for it. Yeah, those bears appear to have.
I love the whitest kids you know, by the way. It was a great show. Yeah. Trevor, amazing. He's definitely the best of the bunch. Absolutely hilarious show. Who messaged me? Oh, not right now. Save it for tomorrow. I had some other stuff to talk about then. It's not all Venezuela all the time, you know. Stephen L. Miller. I like both Stephen Millers. He puts, Ryan Savarda put up about Margaret Brennan talking to Tom Cotton today and about how her body language is. So and Stephen L. Miller's like, just watch this with the sound off. So watch this.
So when the president says,
watch her body language. Yes, I know there's no audio.
that you are confident.
That's the point of saying we're going to watch it without audio to see her body language. Yes. Did you see just how like it's surreal? Like the me what a fucking joke they all are. Face the nation. Remember, that's CBS. That's not supposed to be one of the biased ones, right? Now, this I thought was the story of the day. Of course, I can never figure out how to zoom in. Am I going to have to ask my audience, what button do I hit to zoom in? I know there's a way to do it. How do I zoom in? Control and then plus, is that right? Oh, see, the shit won't do it on X. Why is that?
What are you trying to zoom in on?
An X post. Here, I'll just take care of it.
Tap the post and
It won't work.
Oh.
I've tried this before. I'm up to 150% and it won't. Now I gotta. There we go. All right, so let's do it this way instead. It's a good one. I saved the picture. Hopefully that works. Okay, now I think I could zoom in maybe. Now we're talking. Trump put this out today. Anybody see this? This is on Truth Social. Trump put out. It's the country of birth and the percentage of immigrants and the percentage of them that are on some form of government assistance. Hopefully you can see here. Oh, there we go. Bhutan, 81.4% of Bhutanian households on government assistance. Yemen, 75. Somalia, about 72. Afghani, 68. Aren't you glad we took in a lot of them? And as you can see, the list goes on. By the way, where were Venezuelans? Just be curious. My guess is low on the end. Did you know that the majority of Venezuelan immigrants are conservative? They vote Republican. It's like 70-30. Here you see we're more than halfway through. These ones slightly under 50%. Iceland, 30%. South America in general, 26.7%. Bermuda coming in, 25.5%. Why is that number higher than 0 for any of them? Now I understand why, right? Some of these people aren't going to be, some of these are citizens. Right? I don't think these are all just immigrants that don't have, some of them are going to be citizens. But I'm all for saying, look how bad Somalians are. I'm all for that. And we can see. They seem to get some sort of favored status. And yet, look how many of them are on government assistance. Third worst at 71%. And that's fine. I don't mind pointing out the fact how this particular area is so bad. But at the end of the day, that's not the real conversation we need to be having. The real conversation is, why are we bringing anyone into this country that we're giving any assistance to whatsoever? I'm not even saying if you need assistance, you're a bad person. At all, I'm not saying that. People in my family have had assistance. I've been on assistance before. But I'm a citizen. You can't pick your family, but you can pick your friends. Similarly, you're a citizen? Okay, we're not going to deport you. Fair enough. But why would we intentionally bring people in that we know are a burden? Goodbye. See ya. Of course, the chart's incomplete. There's never been a chart that is complete. There very few charts are complete. I get that. Yes, we don't know, but that's true. Yeah, for example, I could steel man the argument against your position. Sure, we don't know. That's true. But we also don't know anything about any economic data in a complete picture on any group in the United States, even American citizens. We don't know. It's difficult to get the complete data. The point you're trying to make is we have so many people in here that we don't keep accurate data on. Yes, I get it. But the problem is to just say, if we take to the logical extrapolation what the left will say when you say that is, well, this is incomplete, we don't know, and so therefore it might be good. I know that's not the point you're making. You're saying, well, it's incomplete and that's troubling. But yeah, I mean, you can say that about any government data. Just because the Trump administration might be focused on Venezuela now, regardless of what we as individuals think about it, does not mean that we should not do our part to continue to put the focus right where it should be. And if this administration doesn't do it, that's fine. We should pressure the administration to do it. Get these motherfucking people out of the country. Get them out. It's not true. The chart does not mean nothing. That's incorrect. You have an incorrect way of understanding how to use evidence. The chart shows of the data that we've collected that over 75% of Somalians are using this aid. That is an outrage. You saying, nope, that's worthless. Don't even look at it because the numbers may be worse than that. Ignores the fact that the data itself, even if we accept the data, proves that it's bullshit. This is a mistake that people make argumentatively quite often. We should be able to do is say, this data is bad, it's not complete, but even from what we have, enough paints a picture that's unacceptable, that's wrong. Just saying, nope, not even worth pushing. So now, data that you could show that's incomplete and is probably not the complete picture bad, that you could literally show your friends, your neighbors, and look at how bad this is. You're busting your ass why 75% of Somalians in this country are on assistance. You take that chart away and say, don't look at that. That's bad. That's worthless. And those people go, oh, okay. It's a mistake. Filipinos. Sure. I'm ready for you to prove it to me. Go ahead. That's right, Zres. But how many households are a percentage? Is that 0.7 of a household? Your point is irrelevant, right? It's an irrelevant point. We don't have a full denominator, therefore we can't look at the evidence. It's irrelevant. Do you see what I mean to the people? Do you see the problem here? You really need to tell me to tell you the difference of different types of averages of mean, median. For example, if we would happen to know that they're exactly 2,731, let's do the math here real quick. I'll do the math. Yes, he did. The dude thought he had someone. Let's just say hypothetically a particular country. Well, it said Bhutan was very bad. Let's say there are, we 100% know for a fact that there are 2,843 households from Bhutan, right? And 1,872 of them are on assistance. I'm sorry. So we do 1,872 divided by 2,873, I think we said. That means 65.1% of Bhutani households would be on assistance there. You'd say, that's irrelevant. The 0.1 shows that it's irrelevant. See the problem? Just because the percentage isn't an even number like 1%, 2%, 3%, that's because it's taking a non-round number is the denominator. So somewhere the government has data, which will be incomplete, on how many Somalian households there are. There's an awful good chance that that number is not exactly something like 100,000, 200,000. It's probably something like 200,748, something like that. Then, if it's probably not an exact even number like that. People are on social services, not houses. Totally true. It is true that individuals are on social services, and yet what we can see is that household data often matters. For example, people have jobs, not households, and yet we take household income numbers, and that number has some sort of utility. The reason that we may prefer household for this number, I can't believe I'm having this fucking argument with someone who seemingly wants to deport these people. Sometimes you can't help but show people they do their best to cut off their nose to spite their face. Here's good data that's clean that the president of the United States put out that helps makes the point that he wants, and he's like, don't trust it. Don't trust the president of the United States. Bad argument. Nope. Trump, you're finally focused on deporting people. You're putting data out that's easy to consume, that is outrageous to the American people. I want all these people deported, but nope, don't do it. Don't do it. Why? Because it uses households and not individuals. And here's the reason that you may prefer household. Because households have to do with people that can't work as well. For example, children. So if we just took a raw number of all Somalian Americans, then someone might say this. But perhaps the reason that that number appears so high is it includes a lot of children that can't work. And so you're like, no, we'll just include households. There should be no household in this country from immigrants that need assistance. No, sorry. That household needs to go back. If the father says, no, it's just my lazy wife and my 3 toddlers, then you say, fine, then they go. You can stay. Doesn't matter. Man, with allies like this on our side, right? Am I right? Can we convince you, useless intellectual, to go on the left wing? Can we do that? Yes, when we're talking about increases, percentages, for example, could be things that don't tell a full percentage. Sometimes you want to see an increase. That's true. Other times we don't. We want to see raw data. The number we're looking at here is a percentage that's referencing raw data, not increases. Just because you think that increased data doesn't serve utility in many senses, and that's true, it doesn't always show utility in senses we would like, doesn't mean that raw data percentages wouldn't be something that we would look at. That's right, and it would increase infinitely if there was zero previously. So you even screwed that up. Why am I arguing with one person in the chat? I do this all the time. I wish I had a mute button. That's what I need. Instead of a ban button, I need a mute button. So that the person could still chat in the chat, but I can't see them because they're too stupid. And one of the things that I'm very bad at is I hyper focus on like people that are disagreeing with me in the chat. And so there'll be one fucking idiot like this that I spend all my time talking to, and they're just a moron. Everyone in the chat's like, okay, this guy's a moron, just move on. So I'll do my best. No, I absolutely would mute you if I could. I would, but I don't know how to mute you without timing you out, so I'll let you go. Oh, EOD. No, I don't want you to time them out either. That's different as well. Timing out means they can't talk for a certain period of time. I just don't want to see them. I accept anything that the YouTube super chat's allowed to come through. You mute, you lose, Rob. I lose a lot then. I muted my radio today as I was driving, had my son in the car going to the SpongeBob. No, StreamYard, I don't have the option. So here, let's go to the shaky cam. I'll show you here. This is what I get. Oh, what's up? This is what I get over here. So what am I doing here? So let's take our good friend Micah here. So let's see. I click here. I can only delete, timeout, or ban. But there's no mute. So I don't know. Because there's people that there's nothing wrong with Useless being an idiot. He's just really stupid. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not offensive. I just can't control myself. It's like he's like a bag of potato chips that are terrible, not good for you. And while they're there, I'm still grabbing them. Someone's like, just put them away. And it's like, well, no, I'm not saying I should throw them away. If other people in my house want to eat the potato chips, fine. But I can't control myself. It's like that. Sorry, Jolly Feets. Yeah. Anyways, good on Trump, and it's actually a good sign. Now, listen, am I going to sit here and bullshit you and say, the fact that Trump put this up on Truth Social Media, the fact that he put it up means that we're about to mass deport these people? Probably not. But it's definitely a good sign that Trump's at least bringing attention to this. I too like potato chips. I've been doing decent losing weight. But yeah, the fact that Trump put that up to bring attention to sort of the problem here, that so many of these, what it is it's a, we just went through it, Joel. Maybe you weren't there. Or Buddha, I'm sorry. It is a list of the percentage of households from each immigrant community that's on some form of welfare. So, for example, it's over 70% for Somalians. So it goes through by ethnicity or country of origin. The Unconsidered, $2 says, what do you think the right's biggest weakness is? That's a good question. Let me read. Sir William, $10. Says new sub here. Wanted to support the channel. Thank you, William. Micah, thanks for becoming a member. Affit Button, $5 says, man, now I want grape juice and corn to eat. Why unalive after I pew-pewed in the backyard of a curvy alphabet army and celebrate with a cancer stick. I understood about half those words. TikTok brain, woo! Omar Tapia, $2 says, name it. The hemisphere of America, Northern Hemisphere and Western Hemisphere. Level 4 Lobster, $10 says, please choke on my protest donut due to the day shift embargo the big Rob complex has put us on. My daughter's birthday's tomorrow. Happy birthday. Happy New Year's, Rob and Chip. Thank you, Level 4 Lobster, and happy birthday to your daughter. I hope she has a great one, and I hope you do as well. Hunter Killer, $5 says, shut up, Rob. You are a librarian and not an Armenian. Fuck. Joel, $5 says, geez, Rob, do I need to get you that thing called a globe? Just kidding. Remember those, though? I love them. I do love globes. I have bookends downstairs in one of my bookshelves that's little globes. I love them. I love antique globes. And then, now we're back to you. I'm so sorry. Unconsidered. $2 says, what do you think the right's biggest weakness is? I think the biggest weakness is also the biggest strength, and that is that we actually have standards and we try to live up to them. So, like, for example, the left, so many, not everyone, but so many in the left, like the Democratic Party, they just don't give a fuck. They'll be like, pack the court. And then they lose, and they're like, you can't pack the court, end the filibuster. And then they lose, like, you can't end the filibuster. Oh, my God. I mean, for a guy that's in here and he's going to make the point of like, if there is one murder this year and next year there are 2 murders, that is 100% increase in murders. Correct? If there are 0 murders this year and next year there is 1 murder, that is an undefined percentage of increase in murders. It is not 100%. It would also be undefined if it went from 0 to 2 or 0 to 3 or 0 to 4 or 0 to 5. Yes, you're right. It would be a 50% increase. I'm sorry. Zero to anything is undefined. No, 1 to 2 isn't 50%. 1 to 2 is 100%. Here is a pen. If I say this pen represents 100% of all pens that I have, right? And I remove this pen, so -1, what percentage of pens have I removed? I've removed 100%. So if I say, here is a pen, this is all the percentage of pens I have. This is 100% of pens. And I add a second pen. 1 pen is 100%. I have added 100%. Right? Now, I have 0 pens. And I say, this is all the pens I have. 0. Then I add 1 pen. I did not add 100% of pens. It is an undefined number. How can you be someone that's in here hypercritical of percentages and you don't know the bare minimum? Like, this is simple shit. Do I view the right as more American than the left? Yes, in general. Exactly. A base cannot be 0. What is 1 divided by 0? And you get into like sort of imaginary numbers, etc. All's a percentage is something over 100. Oh my God. If I have 0 of something and then add 5, how much is the percentage of what I have increased? If you start with 0 of something, you can't calculate a meaningful percentage increase when you add any positive amount like 5. Here's why. Step-by-step formula. The formula for percentage increase is new value minus original value over original value times 100%. If the original value is 0 and the new value is 5, if we plug that in, we get 5 minus 0 divided by 0 times 100%. Division by 0 is undefined in mathematics. This means there is no finite percentage increase. You've gone from nothing to something, which represents an infinite relative growth, or sometimes described as increasing by infinite percentage. Is that clear enough for you? Human lives would be if you had 0 murders and you had 1 murder the next year, that would not be a percentage increase that you could quantify. Humans, like anything else, are values that you could put into percentage equations. You could so what? We could, if you have 0 trees and add 1 tree, we could say, well, that's an undefined percentage. But if you have 0 murders and then have 1 murder, we say humans are more than just statistics. And so therefore we can say that that's a statistic. See you, Captain Coathook. By the way, don't act like that's not what you said. Now you're trying to change it. Then your next argument was, you said if I had 1 of something and then ended up with 2, that would be a 50% increase. That's incorrect. It's actually a 100% increase. If you start with 1 item and add 1 more to reach 2 items, the percentage increase is 100%. Again, new value minus original value over original value. Original value 1, new value 2. 2 minus 1 equals 1. Plug in the numbers. 2 minus 1 over 1 times 100% is 1 times 100%, which is 100%. Doubling something. 100% increase. I was saying that statistics of households don't actually factor the number of people on welfare. That is not what you said. You said, I am not proving his point. You said over and over. That is one thing that you said, but you said over and over. If you had 0, statistics are worthless, and here's why. If you have 0 murders 1 year, and then you have 1 the next year, that's a 100% increase. No. That's not a 100% increase of murders. You said if you had 1 murder and then ended up with 2, that wouldn't be a 100% increase. That would be a 50% increase. No, you're wrong again. That would be a 100% increase. Now you're saying All I'm saying is that we shouldn't look at households, we should look at individuals, which is a completely third argument that I've already discussed, why that's inaccurate. Or rather, it's an opinion, but it's not necessarily true. Now, I'm interested that we did this. Because here's a guy that agrees with me politically. Right? Who's like, yeah, we should deport a lot of these people. And then we have the President of the United States putting out obviously incomplete, as almost all statistics will be like this, but statistics that are truthful based on government data, presumably, and that paint a picture that's like, wow, this is really bad in the immigrant community. And here's a guy that's like, this was bad that Trump posted it, and it's bad that you're talking about this. Because even though it paints an accurate picture, I choose to believe that statistics don't matter. They're always garbage. Because a 0% or 0 murders to 1 murders 100% or some bullshit. He has no concept of what percentages are. No fucking concept. And yet he's on our side trying to tell us that we shouldn't use compelling evidence because he's a fucking idiot. How is 1 murder more than none? Not a 100% increase. We just showed him. Again, the reason is to find a percentage, you take the new value minus the original value. So here we have the new value is 1 minus 0 over the original value, which is 0. You can't divide a number by 0. AJC, $5 says, what's half of 100? 50. 50% of 100. So if you add 100 to 100, that's 200% of 100. What are we talking about right now? He's trolling. Until Wild $5 says, it's not that we're doing foreign things because let's stay strong at home and keep our foot in the necks of the Dems about the Minnesota fraud crap. Agreed. AJC. Member, thank you. Says he's obviously got that Leering Center education from Somalia. Robin Bips. Thanks so much, man, for becoming a member. Appreciate it. And then AJC we went with. I'm very bad at math, too. I really am. By the way, AJC, 100 added to 100 is a 100% increase, not a 200% increase. When you double something, that's a 100% increase because this is 100% of all that I have. And so if I add another one of those, I've increased it by 100%. If this is everything I have right here, and I add one more, I've added 50%. See? Because 1 is 50% of 2. It's half of 2, 50%. But if I add 2, that's a 100% increase. The conversation did make. We're all dumber for it. I foolishly engaged, even though I said I was done engaging. I foolishly engaged. All right. He says, if you have 0 pens and then you have 1, you have a 100% increase of pens. Okay. So let's do this. If I have one fucking complete imbecile in the chat that we've explained this to over and over again, and then I ban him, what percentage of complete fucking imbeciles have I just lost? Well, it's hard to say because I didn't specify that there were no other complete imbeciles, but in this example, we just lost 100% of those complete fucking idiots. So, brutal, 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 brutal. Yes, now we're moving on to English class. Stacks of money might help. I don't have that. Well, if we get to our goal of $357, and maybe, there's a good friend examination show. Interesting debate we were having there the other night on, like, sort of philosophical questions. I'm not really much of a philosophizer, if I do say so myself. Yeah, so head to the Leering Center, the Leering Center, whatever you want to say. Yeah. Now, we're only at 77% of our goal. The point that I wanted to make with the majority of the channel tonight was this. There are things I disagree with when it comes to the Trump administration, obviously. But I'm going to stop focusing so much on that. My opponents don't do that. And I'm going to go into campaigning mode. Is what I'm going to do. And so you're going to see less. I'm going to be critical of the Trump administration, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to spend the bulk of my time doing that. Right. V. Scott puts it, if 100% increase is a doubling of a number, then tell me when you double zero, you fucking moron, right? Kokomo, thanks so much. Remember, 5 months says, don't a bar can't be a statistic. That's true. 77% is... So that's where we're at. Now, we're going to get... Listen. We're going to get to 100% of our goal here tonight. Let me double check, make sure I don't have any dumbass whip songs that I owe. Oh, I think I'm getting out cheap tonight. So far, 0. Let's play this clip I would like to show you. This is from Sam Tripoli from Word War here.
It is Word War Week, okay? That's right. Word War Debate is this Saturday night coming up. I'm so blessed. Word War Debate WW1 is this Saturday night in Atlantic City at the ACX1 Studios. The lineups are murder. And I just want to tell you what we're kind of doing here. I've been blessed to work with some guys on this idea that I've been thinking about for a while. They were nice enough to hear it out, and the 4 of us just worked really hard on this, and it wouldn't be happening without the Enlightened Network. They're just really great guys, and it was very cool to be able to pitch an idea to people that actually want to work with me, because I've been in Hollywood forever. I just picked ideas to people who never really wanted to work with me. They just kind of want to hear my ideas. Kasparian versus Pearl is our main card. We're going to be discussing feminism. Now listen, we want to do a bunch of other debates as well, but some people just don't have the balls to come and bang, dude. The whole point of World War Debate is to centralize debating. There's going to be debates everywhere all the time, just like, there's fights everywhere, but there's the UFC. This is what we're working on. We want to create the WWE, the NFL, the NBA, the UFC of debating, where everyone shows up on one giant debate and the best go at it. We're going to be discussing, should we stay allies with Israel? Here we go. Let's go, dude. Obviously, we're going to have an amazing panel, dude. We got Kyla Turner. She's from the left. You got Gavin McGinnis from the right. And you got me in the middle. That's who I am. That's how I roll. Then we got Crystal Marie as our sideline reporter. And the great Ben Swan. And you know Ben Swan because he was the mainstream media who talked about Pizzagate when no one else would. We're going to have the dangerous conversations. Not just the safe, dangerous conversations. We're going to have the dangerous conversations. This is where the intellectual go to bang. This is where we're going to make intellectuals into rock stars. We're going to get this country back on track.
Word War Debate, the UFC, but 4 debates, January 10th on the boardwalk. Pearl Davis, Anna Kasparian, Shabos, that Shabos dude, and Michael Rechtenwald. Me and Sam Tripoli will be commentating, and the debate will go on throughout the day, January 10th, right on the boardwalk. You've got to see this venue. And then, of course, after the debate, we'll still be hanging out. The discussions will continue. And it's going to be a blast January 10th, right on the boardwalk. Tickets available here.
Well, not like in Gavin's crotch, where he seems to be pointing there. I don't think tickets are available in Gavin's crotch. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, I do hope, I am flying out the next day somewhere for the Crucible on the 11th, but I am hoping that I do get to spend some time. I don't want tickets if it's from Gavin's penis. Any takers out there? We got 2 free tickets that were on Gavin McInnes's penis. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Sorry, Gavin, if you're listening. I'm just... So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Gavin, dick tickets? No, that's not a selling point. But no, it's going to be a blast. Gavin's right. You get to hang out with folks in the VIP room if you're up there, or you'll see us milling about. It's going to be like a party. So, yeah. Good shit. Your tickets will not smell like a locker room. I assure you. AJC, $5 says, forgive me, I'm dumbed down of this conversation. Me too. Kokomo. Donald Bar can't be a stat. And then look at this. I'm Forcigo, $21. Kokomo, 20. And then this son of a bitch. Wait, Bugs. $50 says, thought you're going to get away with having plenty whip songs this evening, eh? I did think that. That is a goal, though, so we'll get it. Now, part of my goal is I would like to make it 30 seconds this year on one of the times I say goal. So we'll get ready here. You ready? Go. That's about 16. So we're going to have to double that. Cardio, here I come, baby. Get back into circular breathing like you used to try to do in band in high school. 16 seconds. Is that what I should do? Take a deep breath? Does the dick ticket come with Dude Wipes? Sponsored by Dude Wipes. Now we're getting some interesting promos. Now, tomorrow night, I think we're going to have, we'll definitely have Ryan Mullally, and we're going to do our regular Law and Order show. But I think part of that show will include talking about his World War matchup, and maybe Pisco will come on. Him and Pisco are going to be debating on birthright citizenship. Now, if you followed the Law and Order show, we've talked about that the past 2 shows. I know I'm not impressed with my fat-ass lack of breath either. So, should be fun. We'll be talking about that. But yeah, that debate on birthright citizenship, I think that's a huge debate. It's going to start at 8 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Topic there is huge. That's going to be coming in front of the Supreme Court. And look, everybody initially thought no chance that gets overturned. I don't know. The more you look at it, it's like, I don't know. I still don't think it will be overturned, but it's going to be close, I think. I still think it'll be a 6-3, but we'll see. Michael Rechtenwald versus Shabbos Kestenbaum. It's going to be a debate that a lot of people want to hear. It's a topic that people are talking about, which is basically U.S. foreign policy, and I'm sure Venezuela will come up as well. And our allies, particular Israel. So I think it'll be absolutely fantastic debate to watch. Happy to be part of that. And of course, the main event, Pearl Davis versus Anna Kasparian. They're going to be talking about feminism's impact, particularly on women. So, I think it's going to... Listen, here's the deal. I'm not going to bullshit you. Would it be nice to have this debate be Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump? Fuck yes! Would I have liked to see Ben Shapiro versus Nick Fuentes? Of course! But I think that top matchup in particular... Anna versus Pearl, both have big audiences. And I think it's going to be a very interesting debate. It's going to be entertaining. And what we're trying to do is you'll be able to watch, we'll have more details, but you should be able to watch on places like YouTube. Shouldn't be a problem. And so we want to make sure that your experience watching it at home is entertaining. And we also definitely want to make sure that the people that get tickets, that it's going to be a fucking party. That's the idea. The idea is to combine like UFC with debate. And the idea is to be as neutral as possible. And unlike other places that I've complained about, the idea is to treat the talent like they're the talent. I am not the talent. I am not one of the debaters. It does not matter what I think of the position that the debaters will be arguing. I come on here and I yell and scream at people in my audience and this, that, and the other. That is not what will be going on here. We are committed to making sure that all of the debaters are treated like the people that are bringing the eyeballs, because that's who they are. That's why people watch, because they want to see the debaters. And so we will treat the debaters as such. We will make sure that they are compensated. We will make sure that they are put up in good facilities. We'll make sure that any questions they have are answered. We'll make sure that they're treated with respect the entire before, during, and after the debate. And we're going to make sure, to the best of our ability, that the moderation, the debate format, all of that stuff is as equal as possible. For my part in the participation of this, I would like that if someone comes on that I am diametrically opposed to their politics, to walk away from it saying, Rob is a perfect gentleman. Helped me out with everything I had. I would have had no clue that he completely disagrees with my politics. Tim Lorenz says, it's a bit light for a first event. I think it puts an extra pressure on the debates to be amazing to warrant the next one. I'll be there, but I wish there was another big debate or two. Look, no lie. You would wish that all three had sort of the size of followers that Anna and Pearl do. That's true. But things worked out the way they did. There were other debates that were on the line that didn't come through. For example, I would not have announced this, but both of them talked about it. Steven Crowder was offered to debate Candace Owens. Didn't happen. Ben Shapiro, Gypsy Crusader. I don't know that there would be enough money to make that happen. Iranian protests getting out of hand. Ayatollah preparing to flee. It's big. We'll see what happens. That gentleman's doing a lot of heavy lifting. Well, I'm a heavy guy. So that's sort of Ben Shapiro versus Brian Shapiro. I would have my money on one of the B Shapiros for sure. But yeah, and you do have to start somewhere. So look, who knows what happens? This is not something, I'm going to be straight up with you. This isn't something that for the rest of my life I'm committed to sign on. I'm not saying that. I know this. What's in front of me right now is a great idea. And that idea is make debates entertaining, treat the audience and the debaters special, make it fun, not just stuffy, but make it fun like a party, and make it neutral. And for my part in this project, that's exactly what I'm going to fucking do. I'm going to have a blast. I'm going to do my job to the best of my ability. And it's going to be a fantastic time. So if you haven't already, go to wordwardebate.com. Now, one second. Well, shit. I thought that would work. But it did not. Well, fuck all that. I thought that I had a link where I had some free tickets. Nothing is free. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun, right? Here's the other thing. Who knows where it goes from here? And just to be clear, right? Noodling Troubadour says, come play poker at the Borgata after the debate. I would be too shy. I'm not a good poker player. I understand the rules, but it's like blackjack. I've played blackjack sometimes at a casino, and it'll be little shit like, you can't have your hand here. Don't do this, don't do that. I would be too shy to play poker in a civilized setting. I play poker for money, like with friends around here, like $5 limit or some shit like that. But, it is not a Crucible event, no. So the idea, Sam Tripoli and Andrew sort of worked together to come up with the idea from this. Andrew is insanely busy, and so he's not going to be at the event. But I was working with Andrew for this event for a long time. So, yeah. Jesse Blaze, oh, yeah. But yeah, so I doubt that I'll be playing poker, and I'm bad at it. But I can see, I'd be like, get your hands off the table. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't flip your cards that way. And I'd just be like, oh, okay, I'm out. Like, if it's free, then what percentage more would a normal price ticket be? You rotten bastard. Good shit, though. Good shit. Yeah, see? Buddha gets it. The casino etiquette. You're decent at Hold'em due to your ability to gaslight and lie. Well, as you can see, my math expertise. So, how about this, though? Y'all should get tickets, and we're going to push for some people to get some tickets and go out there. And it is going to be a party. But I'm not an idiot. It's difficult to get time to get out there. Most of you aren't going to be able to, on short notice, if you don't already have a ticket, make it out there. So can I at least get some interest in this? If you're watching, can I at least get some confirmation? Would any of you be willing to commit that you'll at least check out the online stream for Word War? Can we get that? There's no reason not to. Sam Tripoli is a comedian. So is Gavin McInnes. So, am I right? You guys could at least check it out. Yeah, check out the online stream. Why not? Right? Regardless of me being connected to this, I want to cheer for some sort of organization that will have neutrality, that will bring debates, and that'll fucking compensate debaters. I like that. As a debater myself, what's not to like about that? I doubt I might be doing an interview or two, Saris, but I doubt I'll be doing any commentary. Now, maybe in the future, that's something that could be in the cards. I don't know. Who knows what the future holds? But I think that it's, eventually, look, Ryan Mullally and Pisco, those aren't the biggest names in the world. But on the other hand, from my perspective, and hopefully for you all's perspective as well, that's a good sign that there is a big organization out there that's willing to put promotion, time, energy, money into debaters that have smaller size. If you're someone that's ever considered getting into debate, think about like people that debate over on Speakeasy's channel. And it's not outside the realm of possibility that people like that could find themselves being compensated and treated like the talent in a word war debate in the future. It's not like the Oxford Debate Club where it's like, yeah, you're not going to go. It's not going to happen. Will it be streamed exclusively on YouTube, Word War Debates? No. It should be there, but also I think it'll be on Play, which is like Parler streaming service, probably Rumble, probably X, and then it might be on outside scope. Like it might be streamed on my channel as well. We'll just have to see what I'm capable of doing with my setup once I get out there. So you may be able to watch it, the whole thing right here on my channel. I don't know. I need to talk. Don't take that to the bank. I need to talk to the guys about that. I don't think they'd have a problem with it because they're trying to encourage other people to review the debates and to broadcast them. But it's going to be free. The broadcast online is going to be free. It's not going to cost anything. So there you go. If you could get a sugar mama, there you go. So anyways, that's the pitch. Tomorrow we'll be pitching a little more. And then with any luck, maybe I'll have Sam Tripoli or Gavin McInnes on my show this week to sort of, for a few minutes to talk about it. I'm very excited to meet Gavin. I met Sam. Sam's a great guy. Had a lot of fun with him. And I'm very excited to meet Gavin. I've been a Gavin fan for a long time. In fact, the first thing I ever saw of Gavin McInnes was one of my favorite shows is a show called Kenny vs. Spenny. It's this ridiculous competition show between these two guys. I think it's hilarious. One of the episodes is who is more cool. And the judge was Gavin McInnes. And it was when he was with Vice. And so he was the judge. That's the first I ever saw of Gavin McInnes, that Kenny vs. Spenny episode. And then he did a movie called How to Be a Man, which I thought was hilarious. Then I used to watch him like circa 2015 when he was on Rebel News. Yes, Gavin will not expose himself. Spenny sucks. That's right. You got it. Screw Spenny. Team Kenny all the way. All right, we all whip song. Let's do that. So, and then remember, if you're leaving now, who the hell could blame you with this stupid whip song? I only got one though, so we'll be all right. Tomorrow, unless something changes, you could watch on my channel or on Andrew's channel on the Crucible, the very first official TikTok siege. And we are going to tear some fucking shit up.
Whip song
over on TikTok. As long as I don't say one of the 5 bajillion words that you're not allowed to say.
Yeah, let's not do that.
We'll be right.
We have a show to maintain.
All right. Let's do this. Maybe I'll get some sleep tonight. My goodness.
It was a good rant today. I just kind of sat in the back and I was like, all right, I'll just
like
I
fully intended to do a video not ranting at my audience, and then I couldn't help myself. Yeah. Oh,
hey, good way to go out.
If you only have one, there you have it. All right. Oh, I gotta say, man, between me and you, I'm exhausted. I've been working my ass off behind the scenes for a bunch of shit. It's a fucking lot of work, and so I'm kind of looking forward to get the 10th, and I'm flying out, and I'm doing some other work for the Crucible. I'm ready. It's like prepping for the Super Bowl. That's worse than the Super Bowl. It's like once you're like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So it's like I'm in like, let's do it. Let's get it here. Let's get it here. Let's roll. So all right, here we go. Sea shanty.
Let's do it. Sea shanty.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way. We don't want to go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way. Left, right, left, there's a way. There's a way. Our crack on the back says we're gonna fight. Where there's a way. We're gonna fight and more. Where there's a way, for we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way, where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way, where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way, where there's a way. There's a way, where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way, yeah, where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way.
Yes.
Hey.
Look at that. Oh, look at
Well,
this guy. Did he make an alt account? Is that what happened here? I think so. I think that's what happened. Whatever. We'll let it go. If he went through the energy, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading that wrong. So good for you if you made an alt account. Thanks. Now, if you haven't liked the show, please. I mean, just it's so like, dude. If you're watching and you're a lefty and you want to know how to absolutely crush me in a debate, just say something totally off topic like that. Well, obviously, if you have 0 and you increase it by 2, that's a 200% increase. And I'll lose my fucking mind. Be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then you could just proceed with the debate and I'll be like, no, go back to that, you fucking idiot. You know, like that's.
But Rob, I have 0 and I went to 2. Clearly.
Yes. You know, Tim Walz is not running for election. Sweet. Well, that's because he'll be vice president, right? In 2028. That dude was almost vice president. By the way, isn't it funny how many times we almost have someone elected to a prominent thing and then like immediately after how it's a fuck up? Like, you remember that dude that ran against Ron DeSantis for governor in Florida, Terry Gilliam? Remember that black dude? And then like
I'm on the other side of Florida. Florida's like the opposite news.
Well, it was a big thing. And now DeSantis is like such a like prolific governor. And it's like a deep red plate. But he almost lost to this Terry Gilliam guy. And then like fucking within like a month or two of DeSantis winning, like this video broke out of Gilliam was like a gay dude. And he's just fucking completely bare ass naked, was like in a room with the male hooker, fucking drugs and booze all over the floor. It's like, dude, this guy was almost governor. He was that fucking close. And then within like a couple months, it was like, not Terry Gilliam. Did I screw his first name? Not Terry Gilliam's Monty Python. And yeah, it was also a director. Yeah. What was his name? Gilliam, something Gilliam. This is fucking crazy. Now we got Tim Walz.
That time I'm not like dealing with like Governor Locke and I think it's Governor Peterson now. So
yeah, we had now we almost had fucking old or fucking moron Tim Walz, old Somali daycare fraud himself is VP.
Yeah, I only hear like when like the like recently now, like, but like back when I was like in the military, I didn't really care. I was like, whatever. I knew like if it was if a Republican was in office, it's a 10% raise. If it's a Democrat in office, it's about a 7% raise.
Yeah.
Vote the right.
Wow, crazy. Well, here's what I'm gonna do. I got some shit to do at 8 a.m. tomorrow. I'll talk to behind the scenes real quick about it ever. So I'm gonna get some sleep. No, if there's no other donos in, that's fine by me. No problem. 10 o'clock tomorrow, TikTok Siege, man. I'm pumped. I think it's going to be great.
I am too.
Now, I got to make sure I get the tech working on my phone, but I think I've figured it out.
Yeah,
Got my
and if we
TikTok.
need to, I will, I'll just get up and be there ready early, like an hour ready, just in case you have technical difficulties. We'll just get it
We'll get
working.
it. We'll get her working. So I will study the no-no words. I will. Does Andrew know about the no-no words? I'm assuming he does.
Yeah, he's on TikTok a lot.
Yeah. So I will. It's gonna be like, well, I'm nonplussed about your pointed implement of destruction through my cardio. Like
here's the kicker: they can't call you fat.
That sucks. I like when they call me fat. Oh, look at this. For God, Texas, $5 says, this is for all that you do. Get some rest. Thank you. And let me make sure I didn't miss. Yeah, that's how we started tonight. Did I miss any super chats? I hope not. That guy was super pissed. He's calling his credit card company and shit. Oh, well, whatever. I am so sorry. I really do try to not miss any super chats. So if it happens,
I don't think to say that you missed 3 would be wild.
Well, apparently,
I literally yell
the one mod sent me from 12/14/25 said to EOD, this guy said, not gonna lie, I gave a $10 super chat and I didn't get acknowledged for being given. Not sure I want to continue the non-reciprocal gesture despite how much I enjoy this channel. Two super chats of $5 and $10 respectively, neither acknowledged, Rob. Yeah, I'll wait to do it again.
Let's talk about two things here though, Rob. So first off, they're super chats, right? You get to them if you can get to them. But B, you're just paying for the fucking for the show. All the super chats technically mean is that they have priority if you decide to read chat. Technically, if you want to even have some kind of standard.
I just don't I don't know.
He's like, how dare you not thank me for my $10 of tithing?
And I really do appreciate it, and I do try to thank everyone, but it's obviously
you thank everybody at the end too. You thank people every time you see. It's like, how many times do you need to thank somebody for giving $10? I just think if it gets missed, it gets missed, bro. The whole point is you're paying for the show.
Well, even $1 donation, I incredibly appreciate it. I really do, and it really do. Yeah. I've never have I intended to miss one.
I'm not
say that I've never.
I
know you're not saying,
right?
but I'm just letting the audience know.
There should be an expectation if you miss one that it's on purposely, just like I obliviously I ignore this. There's no standard. You're just that nice. I can't believe they're taking advantage of that. I try to
read them all. That's all I can say. I really do. I think they're all important, and I try to read them all. And I really do understand the importance of it from the bottom of my heart. I'll sit here and fucking yell and scream at people, and yet that part of it, it's absolutely serious. It really does.
It's funny because if it was like an Andrew stream, right? He'd like build up the dono bar to 1,000, say we're gonna go invade, and they go, "Oh, joking, fuck you guys," and then turn off the stream.
Yeah, so I don't know. So I guess I feel bad for that guy. I thought he was being a little of a prick about it, and I just didn't want to deal with it. I don't know. But I am not intentionally. Unforced Ego, thank you for the $21. Says 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. 10 a.m. Is going to be so, which is crazy because Andrew is Central Time in Texas. What's Texas? Yeah. Is that Mountain? Central?
I think that's Central. It's 2 hours ahead of me, right? So I think that's 12 right now.
I don't know. So it's the type of thing where it's like, if he's 2 hours off of me, then this dude's getting up at 8 a.m.
No, it's got to be 1 hour because it's gonna be 8 a.m. for me. No, what? Hold on, let's just go check. That'll be easier.
I think he's an hour away. So it'll be 9 o'clock his time, 10 o'clock my time. But it's in the AM. Hey, Central Time Zone. Yeah. So. Minuteman, $2 says, EOD, detonate. Yeah, it's 12:08 in Texas. Also, I have no idea when Andrew sleeps. At all. There are times I'll end this stream, and he'll immediately, I can tell he's watching the stream because he'll immediately text me. After, be like, hey, man, good stream. What do you think about blah, blah, blah? And I'll, respond to him. And then I'll go down and get a shower and go to bed, right? And then I look, and it's he texts me at 7 a.m. I was like, huh? And then I'm like, well, he must be sleeping now. And then he'll text me then. And then 3 hours later, I'll talk to him on the phone. I'm like, when the fuck do you sleep? It seems like you've been up for 30 hours. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, so Texas is Central, so it's 2 hours ahead of West Coast.
Yeah.
So it's midnight for him right now.
Where's Jim Bob at? He's in Mountain Time. Jim Bob looks like a mountain guy. Makes sense. Yeah. So, all right. Well, anyways, I'll let you all go tonight. And then we'll be back tomorrow morning. It should be fun.
Siege.
8 o'clock, Siege 10 a.m. 8 p.m. Ryan Mullally, Law and Order. 10 p.m. regular scheduled show. So it'll be a long day.
10, long day tomorrow.
Long day. And I assure you, probably the entirety of the day, I will be doing work behind the scenes. So it's gonna be a quite the packed next 2 weeks of my life here, with streaming and research and doing all sorts of stuff.
Well, on everybody, let's just say good night then to the audience.
Well, thank you so much, Ambers. Yeah, I'll talk to
Yep.
you for a second here when the show ends. Just real
Happy
quick.
to be in the back. Happy to put the banners up as lightly as possible. Have a good night, crew.
All right, man. Thank you also to my editor, Black Elk, who is amazing. His videos that he are putting up are really starting to take off, and I largely contribute that with the growth in the channel that I've had. So I cannot thank him enough. So if you know Black Elk, and you ever see him walking around your local town or something, say, hey, great job, Black Elk. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you to all my mods, EOD, Are We Not Men, Naughty Germ, Achilles, Sense Forehead, and everyone else. Thank you all so much. Thank you to everyone who's super chatted. Look, I know I yell at my audience here and there. I don't know. I'm a fucking weird guy. I don't know what to say. So apologies for that if you're not into it. If you are, I guess, thanks. I don't know. But I do appreciate you all. So thank you so much. As always, I want you to keep Charlie Kirk and his family in your memory. But if I could ask for prayers for one more person, Scott Adams, who's obviously, we did a show the other day about his health starting to fail him even more. Some good news. He has said that he is open to committing his life to Christ, which I think is a huge, huge development for someone who I respect so much as Scott. So say a prayer for Scott Adams. Hope for a miracle. Pray for his soul. And I would really appreciate it. So, all right. Thank you so much, everyone. You guys are the best. God bless you all. God bless Scott Adams. God bless Charlie Kirk and his family. We will see you all about 10 a.m. Again, it's the first one, so times might be a little off, but the plan is 10 a.m. on this channel. We'll be doing the TikTok siege. So thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. As always, have a good one.
Only in America is it possible to say, you know what, I don't like the way the country is going, and to do something about it. Take that risk. Take that leap of faith. Stay involved. Trust God and act obediently. Romans 12:2 verse. That God will use all things for good for those who love him. It's bigger than you. I want you to remember that. It is bigger than you. It's bigger than me. You are here to make somebody else's life better, the pursuit of liberty and freedom. You know what gives me strength? The hundreds of thousands of you that say, Charlie, keep going.
1 Corinthians 5 and 15. So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God of all.